Well, YouTube is not live either, so that makes sense. That makes sense. What are you Yeah, still not on YouTube. I mean, it says you're live, but it's, like, not showing up on the okay, here it is. Cool, whatever. Alright, we are live now. Hooray.
Good evening, everyone. I am Kronos, and with me I have Dez as usual, and we are not your average streamers. That means we are going to stream interesting things and talk about interesting things, or at least talk about interesting things and stream games, sometimes bad games. Tonight's not a bad game, though. We're continuing to stream Yakuza Kiwami, which is definitely not a bad game. Yakuza, the original, is very highly regarded, and the remake seems to have been quite good so far. I'm enjoying it. Des, are you still enjoying us playing Yakuza, or are you pretty much done with this?
I mean, I'm over it, but I think that's just
too many weeks in a row.
Well, maybe it's just too. Yeah, I don't know what my problem is. Could be too many weeks in a row. Like maybe we need to alternate weeks, or it could be it's just too much story.
That's interesting that the game has too much story for us.
Well, I mean, we've done games that are only story and have almost no gameplay before, but with those we were like, usually we're joking around doing voices and stuff. I feel like maybe it's the wrong balance of story and gameplay.
Maybe
I don't know.
We're not engaged enough by the story.
Or maybe we're just bad.
Well, that's fair. We are bad.
We are bad.
One of the ways we're not average is that we're bad.
That is one of the ways in which we are not average. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm still intoxicated. That's right. I bought a drink at the bar because I was so confused about trying to find out where I was going or in here. Eventually, I fought the white gang and beat them up enough, and that progressed the story. And now I need to find the red gang. So we beat up the blue gang, we beat up the white gang, and now we gotta go beat up the blue gang to continue on beating up the gang's progress to rescue... I should really remember her name. It's not Sakura. It's not Yumi. Yumi's with her mom, or aunt. How can I forget the girl's name? That's really awful. I mean, yeah, I am a bad person. If this was a real thing, I'd be a terrible person. As it is, I forgot a video game character, and it has been a week since we played. But she's a really major character, so I gotta remember her name. Oh, we're getting attacked. More reds. This is okay. I need to be fighting reds.
I mean, the good thing is that Haruka doesn't actually exist, so, you know, she has no feelings to hurt.
Yeah, she's a...
Unless this is a simulation, in which case she is real, and you did hurt her feelings, and she may one day become a super intelligent and kill off our part of the simulation.
And all humanity. I mean, that's also...
or all humanity, yes.
Well, and the basilisk there. Now, here's the thing. Even if this is a simulation, and you just said her name, and I've already forgotten it again. That's incredible. Even if she was real, we have to make a decision. That's not even a decision. If she's a real sentient thing, does she care that I forgot her name? I mean, people forget my name all the time.
It depends, because like Rocco's basilisk presupposes two things. One, that there's a malevolent superintelligence that comes into being, and two, that is pissed off enough about how long it took to come into being that it wants to punish everyone who didn't help it. But it's also possible that a malevolent superintelligence could consider that to be a waste of resources and just torture whoever's around at the time.
Right.
Like, I'm not, people who are like totally freaked out by something like Rocco's Basilisk. I just don't give a shit. Like, I don't give a shit. You know,
it's a worthy thought experiment, but at the end of the day,
yeah,
if you're living in fear because of that, then
yeah,
have I got some bad news for you about 2020? Because there's really bad shit happening right now in your life.
Well, yeah, and I think what's supposed to be scary about it is that you're in this sort of catch-22, which is that
you can't do anything to actually make it better.
Yeah,
Again,
all
have
you can do is work as hard as you can to bring about the malevolent super intelligence that will destroy humanity, or you can not do that and risk getting tortured by it as a punishment for not bringing it about. And you know, I mean, I read I Have No Mouth and I'm a Scream and a long time ago, and it's just stuff like that doesn't really bake my noodle anymore, you know.
You should have flown over the railing. That would have been more exciting. But that's out of bounds for this fight, so. Well, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, and a book that we read, or a story that we read 3 weeks ago, isn't really top on the list. So.
No, that's true.
What is top on our list? Because if you don't have things, I have stuff I can just start running off. I can start with an anecdote.
Oh, sure. Let's hit us with your anecdote.
So, my children are being particularly willful tonight. Kids, but they're tired. It's first week back at school, so getting them into a rhythm and a schedule, and they're actually being forced to exercise their brain, which is unusual for them, because it's been an extended summer break for quite a while. So, my wife and I were talking before the stream started, and I was lamenting the fact that they were being willful and hard on us as parents, and my response was, well, at the same time, I also have to understand that when I was a kid, when I was their age, I was also a little shit. So, you know, I had this coming to me, right? It's all payback. And she some things never change. And it takes me probably a beat and a half before I realize that she wasn't talking about the kids.
No, she was definitely not talking about the kids.
Which that was an impressive. So then I was like, wait a minute. I call her out on it, right? So sometimes I make a mistake and I have a slip of the tongue where I say something that could easily be interpreted as perhaps slightly insulting, and I have to immediately backpedal because, oh my god, what did I do? What did I say? I didn't mean it like that. I was completely innocent in my meaning. It doesn't seem to work the other way around. She can mean it however she wants. It still doesn't result in anything. Anyway, I just found that to be an interesting thing.
So you're just letting her win all the time, is what you're saying?
Well, basically, yeah. I mean, that is the answer. Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
Those are some sick moves, right? So there's a lot of guys here.
I think the Chinese character for Discord is 2 wife characters under 1 roof character.
Yeah, that's the wife and the mistress combined is definitely a mistake. That's one or the other. You need to not be doing that anymore, please. That's really aggravating. There's a fair number of guys here that are substantially weaker, but still have a lot of health, making this a very awkward fight. Because even when I'm done with me, 2 pretty beefy guys, and I've definitely had difficulties where oh, and this guy. That move is not okay. So I can tell you another quick anecdote from my list of One of the
okay, go ahead.
One of the things I've been doing recently is just listening to a lot of music on YouTube. I have a lot of YouTube stories this week as a result, because I'm putting together a mixtape for someone. So I need to re-listen to some songs, make sure that they're all going to be in a good order. And YouTube's just a really convenient way to listen to music whenever I want to, because I always have YouTube videos. So I'm playing around with some music and using YouTube's like, hey, you want to hear some other music? Yes, please. Enlighten me. Give me some more music, please. And I listened to a song that is an artist that goes by Melee Fresh and Deadmau5. So it's a combination work. And I know Deadmau5, and it's got his strong beat. And Melee Fresh is providing the vocals. And it is extremely raunchy electronic music. Like Lords of Acid, only even raunchier, if that's possible. It's pretty high up there in terms of raunch levels, and I'm really surprised by it. Because, music's all about sex, but this is explicit. It's like auditory porn, basically. So, I don't know, something about that caught my attention, so I did some research. Who is this Melee Fresh? Will you stop dodging? And I found out who she is. She is the woman who, back in the 1980s, voiced Cheer Bear of the Care Bears.
Interesting.
So that's a career change.
She's still spreading cheer everywhere.
Apparently, yes. That is definitely a way of looking at it. I really do not like this guy's attack patterns. I guess that's Elder. I'm gonna take down the big guy first, assuming I can. The big guy's dodging me. I don't want to be in a Sekiro fight.
So, this week I've been researching alternatives to Audible. There are a few.
A few or only few?
Well, I'm sure there are many, but there's only a few that are capable of competition, I would say.
Sure.
So, who are Amazon's competitors? Very few companies.
Apple.
Yeah. Apple, Walmart, Google, maybe Barnes & Noble and Barnes & Noble's Dreams. Yeah, I mean, it's not a lot. So anyway, there's one that I think is interesting called Libro. It's Libro FM, but it's Libro.fm. And it's the same exact thing as Audible. Like, everything is the same, except the money goes to independent bookstores. Or some of the money goes to independent bookstores, rather. And you can designate which independent bookstore you want to support, or they'll just randomly assign you one based on your location and that sort of thing. So, that I thought was interesting. I wonder what the bookstores are doing, if they're pooling resources to keep the site up, or if the site has its own pool of money and sustains itself and then just gives some money to these local bookstores, and how much they get and if it's worth anything. This is all stuff that I'm curious about.
Sure.
But it does seem to be that they're just gonna split the money between this. I guess I probably could maybe Google and find out this information, but that sounds hard.
Well, also you have to use one of those competitors, so, I mean, how much can you really trust a competitor like that? Okay, guys, it's really bad for me when you start healing. I'm allowed to heal, because I'm the pro.
Here's an FAQ. Cool. That's what I need. The first audiobook company to allow you to purchase audiobooks directly from independent bookstores. So that's what you're doing. All right, so you get your one free book or whatever, just like Audible. And and the price difference is negligible. Audible's $19.99 and Libro FM is $19.95, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. And so, yeah. So, and then it's in the same vein as Audible. You get your credits, you trade in for the book that you want, and then if you want to purchase additional books, they cost less money than if you didn't have a membership. And you're buying them from local independent bookstores. However, that's defined.
Oh, you're just doing it online, so the fact that they're local doesn't really even matter, I guess. But oh, guys!
Well,
really not cool.
What's really interesting is when I was clicking on it, I wanted to see if they had the book, The Whale: A Love Story by Mark Beauregard, because that audiobook is actually quite difficult to track down. And they did. And the store that had it was the White Whale bookstore, which I thought was kind of funny.
Well, that is actually kind of amazing. You found your white whale at the White Whale, and it's about a whale.
Especially because The Whale: A Love Story is about Herman Melville. So,
wow.
It was a neat little loop. So, but that's what I mean when I say the audiobook is hard to track down. So rare, in fact, that only a bookstore that presumably specializes in Melville, or at least on some level, had it. But yeah, so they were interesting to me. They have articles on their website entitled things like "The Harmful Impact of Audible Exclusive Audiobooks."
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And it's harmful. So absolutely. So, that's one of them. And then the other one is Scribd, which is like,
yeah, they were awful.
Their selection is not great, let's just say.
But they don't have everything, but what do they have legally?
Well,
right.
There seems to be like a vetted section. So there's like an actual like official book section and an official audiobook section that is safe zone, and then there's like their PDF section and their
yes.
MP3 section or whatever. So if you want to not personally partake of anything of a legal gray area, you can. You can say, I'm only gonna go into if it's not in one of these categories, then I'm not gonna participate in it. But of course, by having a membership, you are
contributing to that as well. It's a lesser cooperation with evil, certainly, but arguably still a cooperation if you assume that to be an evil thing. And I would say that stealing things is generally evil. Don't steal stuff.
Well, it would depend. So, like, for example, if one of the things in the MP3 section was a download of an Audible exclusive audiobook, what would you think about that?
Well, obviously it's not exclusive anymore, is it?
No, not anymore, I guess. So yeah. So those are things that came up. But what's interesting is pricing, because Audible is $20 a month and you get one book free or two books free. Same with Libro FM, and audiobooks are expensive. So $10 for an audiobook is pretty good, I guess. But that is $120 a year.
It is. It's a cable subscription, basically. And
it's not $120. It's $240 a year.
Oh yeah, it's worse. It's even worse.
It's worse.
That's a premium cable subscription.
Yeah.
How much do you love books? And I love books a lot, but...
Yeah, so compare that to, for example, you could get an out-of-state library card for the Brooklyn Public Library, which has one of the largest book collections on Overdrive, which is the library ebook and audiobook platform that most libraries use. And it's $50 a year. And the money would then go to a library and not, Jeff Bezos.
Yes, but it's also government subsidized. So, I mean, the government is theoretically enhancing that revenue stream for you.
Do you think that, or do you think they use out-of-state cards for extra money?
They do use out-of-state cards for extra money, but it's still being subsidized in that the taxpayers are setting this up, and they're like, okay, and... Oops.
Yeah, but if the library was smart, which I'm not saying the library is, okay.
And the library can be as smart as you want. We'll talk about politicians.
Well, if the politicians who set the price, whoever sets the price for these out-of-state cards for the libraries that have out-of-state cards, if that person was even remotely intelligent, they would make that price high enough that that person was also subsidizing the library. Like they were paying way more than what they were costing in terms of licenses used or whatever.
Sure, I don't think that's accurate. I think that is far from that.
You don't think that they thought that through and crunched the numbers?
I think that...
Or do you think they picked numbers out of the hat, more or less?
I think they picked a number that they thought that people would actually engage with it, so that they could, have it and have it available to a wide range of people, and that would be a deterrent from everyone doing it, but would, because the purpose of the library is to maximize education, so there's going to be times when they're like, okay, even if it's not for our citizens, we can take a loss, a reasonable loss, and the thing is, those licenses, the deals that they strike with Overdrive and the content owners, they get to be pretty complicated. So it's not usually
they're
a one-for-one.
not. Yeah. So, I was reading a librarian was saying that for an ebook, for example, most publishers will give you 150 checkouts, and the people on the thread that were like, "That sounds really low," and the librarian was like, "Well, it's low, but it's not as low. It's not so low that it's like enraging." Because you don't understand that while like the most checkouts you really get on a book is about 200, and that's if the book doesn't go through something
right
unexpected.
Before it wears out. Absolutely understandable.
Right. Yeah.
And if that's the fee, then that's what it is. But it's not just the checkouts. I think it's you also have to pay a service fee per person. So yes, you have to have those copies.
So it depends. There's a service called Hoopla, and the libraries pay a fee per person per checkout. And so the way Hoopla works is libraries will set a maximum checkout per month and at a time, usually, so that they don't have to worry about some super user just like costing them just a ton of money. And so so with Hoopla they put limits on stuff like that. With Overdrive, they have to own licenses to those books. And what they pay Overdrive, I don't know, but I don't know if it's like for every person who downloads the app or who knows, I'm sure it's not free. But yeah, they also, they pay whatever Overdrive costs, plus they have to own the books. And Overdrive is tracking the licenses, the publisher licenses. Except for the books that don't have DRM. So...
Always.
And there are some in there. It's very interesting.
Yeah. I will also say that I was doing some copyright research yesterday, and I got very excited because for the first time in decades, things are starting to enter the public domain again. Not a lot of things, but it's happening.
Yep. So
that was a tough fight. That took quite a while. Haruka.
All right.
Her name's Haruka.
I have no idea, man.
Well, then you are in for a very bad time.
Uh-oh. Okay, that's not... He's just not answering the questions that are being asked.
I mean, this is his own fault. He should just give it up. I beat him once already. There you go. Was that so hard?
Yeah, I mean, honestly. Do you think after I spent all this time beating you up that I was gonna not beat you up again if you didn't tell me what I wanted to know? All right, so under what games have you played this week? I've had some... Oh no, someone's getting tortured. Oh, we're getting tortured.
Yeah, we're getting tortured. This went badly.
Well, this definitely took a turn.
This
reminds me that someone turned the graphic novel Polar into a movie, and there's quite a large amount of torture in that. I loved the single screen of the tree flicking me off that I got just for 1 second.
Because the whatever when I'm changing windows around to do stuff, it just is like, nope, you're gonna get the thing pop through, so that shouldn't come through on the stream at least. It's interesting. Because see, I do that. It's so weird that happens.
Yeah, I found that to be really irritating when I was streaming games. So that's why I got the Stream Deck. The main reason why was so I could switch windows around without having to touch the PC, so I wouldn't trigger stuff like that.
Interesting. That definitely sounds first world problems, though. I'll be honest.
Oh,
Ow,
yeah.
ow, yeah, they are.
This is not going well for you.
I did not think that it was time for my
Your piercing upgrade.
Ooh, you're going right for the sinus, huh?
No, I think it's more. I was planning to be an eye piercing. Oh,
Well, he's better.
Wow, that guy is really pepping his step now.
Yeah, I mean, getting shot took a lot.
I don't know
out of
if
him, I guess,
that's the best way we could have gotten Kiryu you down. Like, I'm just like, it looked cool, but I'm not sure that was the right idea.
What about 3? What if I need 3 legs? Can you sacrifice 3?
You're asking him awfully personal questions.
What I'm saying, if we're in a Donner Party situation, can I count on him?
That guy's like, well, somebody fucked up. I'm gonna go have to chop off some heads.
That guy. That's the guy we're going against?
Fuck that guy. He's probably not torturing her, though.
Why am I completely blanking on that relaxation technique that uses pins to...
Acupuncture?
That's the word. We were getting acupunctured pretty hard there.
No, we have to go to purgatory again.
No, wait. Something's happening. Or not. What's going on?
It
it's
looks
cell phone.
more like nothing is happening.
My cell phone is going off. I can't hear, so...
I can't hear the game either, so...
Anyway, sorry I interrupted you.
Oh, I was gonna say, I played way too much Stardew Valley this week for reasons, and so I was trying to play Borderlands tonight, and I couldn't do anything because of the stupid Nintendo... the Nintendo do everything button is the east button, not the south button.
Yep.
Which everywhere else is the back button.
Yes.
So
yes. Nintendo
so
is
that's
a little bit
fun.
odd.
Yeah.
Alright, let's do the sub-story, I guess.
But I'm trying to finish the Japanese Western Dragon DLC. I'm not finding it particularly compelling, which is why I'm still working on it.
Well, a game not being compelling is no reason not to play it. In fact, in many ways, that's what I do the most of.
I know that's what you believe. But they were like, it's a mashup of the Seven Samurai and the Magnificent Seven, and I'm like, yep, that's fresh content that can be improved upon easily. Mm-hmm. Alright, so while we're talking about Japan,
Okay.
let's talk about the PS5. Because we have a couple pieces of information about the PS5.
We have a price?
No.
Okay.
Still no price. Still no release date. No price, no release date. No price, no release date. No. There is no price, there is no release date. However, there's a couple things. One, a Ubisoft document was leaked, which people got really excited about because they thought it meant that the PS5 was having trouble with backwards compatibility or whatever. But after researching this document, all it does is confirm everything Sony has already said about backwards compatibility.
Yes.
So it does seem to be a little bit of a tempest in a teapot, but Yeah, the PS5 is not backwards compatible to the dawn of time, turns out.
It's backwards compatible only to the PS4 and crossplay with
For
the PS4 for certain games.
for discs, it's backwards compatible to the PS4. If you have a PS4 and you have PS2, PS1, or PS games that you have purchased through PSN, they have said that digital purchase on the PS4 will be playable digitally on the PS5 as long as you use the same ID on both systems. Which I don't know why you would not do that, but if you weren't going to, maybe rethink it. And then the PS3, of course, is this big outlier because the PS3 is like in its own little world. And
very strong computer, but not well designed in terms of its hardware. It's very, very particular. It doesn't play well with anything.
Its hardware is too unique, I think, is its problem. Yeah.
The cell architecture of the whole processing system.
It's it's very. If you crack one open, it's very interesting, but it has problems. Like on PlayStation Now, which is their game streaming, similar to Game Pass or Stadia or whatever, you can download games from any system other than the PS3. The PS3 is streaming only, and the way they stream those is literally they have warehouses full of PS3s that you just play remotely. And so sometimes you have to wait in line for a PS3 that's loaded with the game you want to play to become available. And I was like, this is so stupid. I was like, I can't believe, can we not come up with some kind of PS3 emulator that we can put in and do it this way? Can we not? How is this what we're doing in 2020? You know, but anyway, so they have to figure that out. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know. I assume they'll figure out some kind of emulator and they'll eventually sort it out. But for now,
any problem like this can be solved eventually by throwing enough processing power at it. So the cell architecture was very hard to build and very hard to replicate. But if you have a computer that's 100 times more powerful, it no longer matters.
Right. So anyway, so that's the situation. That's situation number one with the PS5. You asked me earlier in the week if I thought that the limited backwards compatibility mattered, to which I say no, because as I've just described, other than the PS3, you can play games going back to the beginning that you own digitally through, they have like a PlayStation Classics type of thing. It basically puts an emulator on your PlayStation and you play the games in this emulator. So you can, but they don't work off the discs, obviously, but you know, you can purchase old games from Sony. That's something you can do if you want to. So the other piece of information is Sony put out an application to be approved to pre-order a PlayStation 5. And it requires your PlayStation Network ID in order to complete.
Yep.
So the assumption is that these invitations to pre-order the PlayStations will go to people who spend the most in the store or are most engaged.
They have a history of being in the ecosystem. Clearly.
Yes. Yeah, people who they think are very likely to purchase PS5s on day one, you know, what have you.
And think highly of it.
And be positive about it, not complain about it. Happy Tuesday, YPod. How are you?
Oh no, you're seeing YPod before I am. That's not great. I can't see YPod yet.
This made Jim Sterling very upset.
Understandably. I was actually just watching this video before we started the stream. I ran out of time to finish it, but
he has a video on it. I mean, you know, nothing that companies are gonna do is gonna make him particularly happy if they don't stop being, you know, evil douchebags like they have been for however long. So I don't have.
Just don't go overboard making that profit, and you'll be fine with it. But
just don't be predatory. Mm-hmm. Just be human-centered and stopping and and there are companies that are like this. So there are companies that are not as terrible as other companies, but you know. So that's that. But the other thing that he mentions in the video, which is the one that I like so many people were like, yeah, when I read that article about Microsoft creating a quadruple A company, I just knew that Jim was going to lose his shit. So Microsoft is
Unironically,
unironically has mentioned that they have a quadruple A company working on a quadruple A game or some shit. Just yes, unironically. It's obviously a made-up marketing term that no one uses, so it could mean anything. We have no idea what it means.
well, we don't even know what AAA actually means. That's the thing. It's also a marketing term. We have a general sense,
right.
but it's still arbitrary.
Yeah, in other words, AAA, in my mind, is referring to tentpole games from very large, not independent companies or conglomerates. So, Assassin's Creed, you know, whatever, NBA 2K, Red Dead Redemption, GTA, of course. That's probably, and someone gave GTA as an example of a quadruple A game, which I thought was really interesting. Because they said if they were to call a game a quadruple A game, it would be GTA 5, which I think that there's an argument to be made there, because not only is it the most profitable piece of media in the history of the human race, but it is also still printing money for 2K. So yeah, not only was it initially successful just as a game, but then it has continued to have this unending second life as an online service, which it will presumably have until there's a GTA 6. So that was given as an example of a quadruple A game. If that is what Microsoft is trying to make, good luck to you, because there's not a lot of those, and it's not for lack of trying. You know,
I think it has to be that they think that if they just throw enough resources at it, that they get to call it that. I'll be honest, I'm still not seeing Ypod in my chat thing, so I switched over to YouTube for a second to see, and that he is chatting there, as you said, but I'm not seeing anything in my input, which is very odd. Oh, I have a refresh button. Let me try that. No, that didn't do it. So odd.
But if you Google quadruple A game, mostly it's just articles of people making fun of quadruple A of this article.
Well, it's a starter. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Now it's working.
That's a fair point, Ypod. I think that the resources that Rockstar puts into GTA is probably significant compared to any big budget AAA game. So yeah, you could but like, could you wake up and say, I'm going to make a quadruple A game that's going to be as successful as GTA 5 and actually do it? Like, I don't think you could necessarily. I mean, you could. It's technically possible, but like, there's no guarantee, no matter how much money you have, that you could do it. I don't think necessarily, because GTA is very much its own thing. So, a year ago, someone on Reddit proposed a new gaming term, quadruple A game, because most AAA titles are trash, and there's just a few rare masterpieces like God of War and Spider-Man.
I think those are really odd choices to be playing.
This person plays on Sony, clearly. You know, God of War, sure. Spider-Man, no. Sorry, Spider-Man fans. Like, it's a great game, but it's not even God of War, let alone GTA 5. But yeah, GTA 5. So the top voted response isn't AAA just used to quantify money and team size? Like, AAA doesn't literally mean the best a game gets.
It's the budget that it went in with. So they should make it that tentpole, make it the blockbuster, or try to. So it's the money and the staffing and the team size. Exactly. I think that's the biggest issue of it. So a quadruple A could make sense in that, okay, if the AAA game has, I'm going to use a number. I think that most games have more than this, honestly. But if you have 100 developers on a AAA game and 10 developers on a AA game, and the indie game is the guy in his basement with the single project, then that's a factor of 10 each step. So then the quadruple A would be 1,000 games, or 1,000 workers. So if Microsoft is saying, look, this studio is literally 10 times bigger than any other studio like EA Tiberian, then fine. I'm okay with them calling it quadruple A at that point. But if it's just, hey, we're spending 5% more than any other developer, I don't buy it. No.
Well, we know that the company that's making this game is The Initiative.
Okay, that's a huge one, but it's not 10 times bigger.
Yeah, so already it doesn't quite work with your math. We know that the project is a, quote, massive tentpole project. And that's it. After that, it's speculation. They could be making nothing. I mean, who knows what they're making. There's been some speculation that it's Perfect Dark. That, there's no way. There's even
if they were, why would you use that IP? It's either new IP or something way deep. And we know that they're doing Halo. We know they're doing Gears. They're going to do another Gears. It's neither of those, right? So those are the two big Microsoft franchises, and Forza. And it's not going to be Forza. So it has to be something completely different. Which means, in my opinion, I think it's something that's new IP. And I don't think that there's a whole lot of great track record there for new IP.
So we do know, based on someone's resume on LinkedIn, someone who is a tech developer at Initiative, that they have experience using the Unreal Engine to make a game featuring scripted various weapons, gadgets, and a camera surveillance system.
Minecraft 2. That could be quadruple A. If they actually
Minecraft 2, yeah. They wouldn't need
Initiative?
weapons, gadgets, and a camera surveillance system,
Maybe.
but... So, yeah, I think they're just trying to say the Initiative is going to make big, expensive games that we expect you to buy, and we expect them to all be hits. And that it is possible that they'll be so big and so expensive, and their scope will be so vast that they'll be beyond anything we've seen before.
So that's good news for Game Pass, right? Because every single game is going into Game Pass. So why would I pay $60 or $70 or $120? $120 because it's so good that it's worth $120 when I know it's going to be in Game Pass, and that $120 is just a year of Game Pass.
Yes. So the real question is this all just a ploy to get people to buy Game Pass?
Well, not until the game's actually released. In order for that to work, they need the game to come out and to be hyped enough that people are like, yeah, okay, I'll try it for $10, and if I like it, then maybe I'll buy it for $70. But they'll be like, you know what, I've already paid $10 for the rental, I'll just keep doing this, and by the time 7 months roll around, and then they're hooked. But that only works if the game is actually good. And when's the last time Microsoft released a good game? I'm a Microsoft fan. I don't know when the last time they released a good game is.
I mean, I think people think Forza is good.
I think the Forza games are well respected and generally solid. Maybe Wipeout can comment on this. I saw he was playing a lot of racing games recently. I'm notoriously bad at racing games, apparently. I thought I was an okay driver, and then I played racing games in the modern generations, and it turns out I'm not very good at them anymore. Like, my first real experience with that, coming back to it, was F1 2013, which was the Games with the Gold. I was like, okay, cool. It's simulation F1 racing. Well, it turns out that's really hard. Last week, were you playing it last week? I don't know. I was doing Gems of War, and I saw that you had gotten a Gems of War achievement recently. I was like, what did you play in Gems of War recently? Oh, you got 500 troops. Okay. And then I saw that you had played other racing games. So that's why I was looking at what you were doing. But I don't, the gist of it is gone now. My brain is fried.
And then Phil Spector tweeted, great update today with the people from the Initiative, incredibly talented studio challenging themselves to do new things, and old things, smiley face, in new ways. I think the second things is a typo after new, but who knows? Maybe it's a secret code. that can be cracked by the internet.
No.
Anyway. So that's quadruple. So what is Jim calls it? Quadruple capitalism. Quadruple capitalism. So it's gonna have to be quadruple capitalism, which is actually easier to say. So I support that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasteland is pretty good. Yeah, I believe that Wasteland is good. I haven't played it, but I've heard really good things about that. So I'll buy that one is a good game. But did Microsoft make it? Developed initially by Interplay, which is one of the reasons why it was good. Then Electronic Arts, not so much. So Wasteland 3
What
is developed
Microsoft
by
and Sony
InXile.
need to get together and do a Forza Horizon Zero Dawn. That would be a fun
is
game.
now owned by Xbox. Huh. I don't remember them getting bought. I guess I wasn't paying close enough attention. Also, I'll be honest, Wasteland is one of those games that I spend not enough time thinking about because I always think it's a first-person shooter, and then I'm reminded that as a strategy game, it's like, ooh, I like strategy games. Why do I want to play Wasteland? This is a first-person shooter. It's in and out of my brain that fast. So, I think it has something to do with it not being a catchy name.
Well, yeah. I mean, the naming of things for marketing purposes is pretty important.
Critically important. That's why, that game, Story is the Path of Destinies, is such a terrible title. It's a decent game, but what an awful title.
Yes, it is actually a pretty fun game, but yeah, the title is super terrible. Speaking of names, we did have the Reclaim Her Name book collection we want to talk about, where some publishing company took it upon themselves to dead name a bunch of authors.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's accurate to call it dead naming it at this point.
It is with some of them. So it turns out some of them pretty much they were trans. So you could it's obvious by how they lived that they were trans. Some of them, no, not all of them were dead named. Some of them just had their real name used on a book instead of the pseudonym they chose for themselves.
Correct. And that's still an odd choice.
Which is still strange to do.
At best, it's a strange choice. And the rationale for this, the reason why they're doing this, is they want the women who wrote these books, being women, or if some of them are trans, and that makes it more complicated, but we're going to consider them women for this because they were born women, I guess is the way we're going to phrase this, credit for writing really good and important books, many of which are not recognized as being written by women by many people, because you look at the author and the author has a male name. And that is some bad assuming on a lot of parts, but you can see where the goal is coming from. It's an understandable desire to give women credit for the things that they've done, and sure, you can get behind that. It's just done so badly and with so little tact.
Well, and because they included people who did live as men during their time, wore masculine coded clothing, that, etc., that it really is, in those cases, probably not appropriate and not what they would have wanted and not something they would have consented to. And it also presupposes that the only reason a woman would use a pen name would be because of sexism, which is not necessarily the only reason a woman would choose to use a pen name. There are other reasons a woman might choose to use a pen name. George Eliot, in particular, had a reason for doing it that didn't have to do with the fact that people wouldn't have published, Middlemarch otherwise. So I don't forget what it was, but it wasn't that she couldn't get Middlemarch published until she put a man's name on it, So yeah, it was just weird. It was weird. But if you want it, you can have it. You can have a bunch of books in your house by authors you've never heard of that no one will recognize.
This Middlemarch book, I thought that was by someone else.
I thought that was written by a guy named George Eliot, but I guess not.
Is
I
this
guess
a sequel?
Yeah, this is this. It's just a fanfic. It's just a fanfic. So
By E.L. James.
L. James. There's a there's a book reviewer on YouTube whose main thing is just reading really, really, really bad books. I mean, they review good books too, but like they do have a niche of reading. Like they've reviewed and they critically review them as if they were real literature. Okay, so like the reviews are like an hour long. They treat it seriously, which makes it worse because the books are so bad. But he's started to call E.L. James L. James, L. James, which is L. James. Yeah. One of the most impressive things about L. James is she has not improved even in the slightest bit as a writer, even though she has written more books, which is one of those things where it's like, you should just accidentally get better.
Well, here's the
even
thing.
If you...
We can talk about that in just a second, but it's related to that whole thing that you sent me the article on, was it this morning or yesterday?
I think yesterday.
Yeah, it's just the lack of quality in writing in general. Why are Americans so poor at writing?
Yeah, but L. James is British, so she's not our fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she British?
She is, in fact.
See, I don't pay any attention to this. So.
I think she's like was born in South Africa to British parents and then moved back to Britain or something. Like there's some South African angle as well, but I don't think she considers herself to be South African. And she speaks with a, British accent. She doesn't speak with a South African accent. So
it's just around the corner. Come on, guy. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, like you would think that. I mean, for example, Stephanie Meyer, her books improved over the years.
Well, she certainly wrote a lot of them.
Yeah, and whether she was trying to get better or she accidentally got better, she got better. So that's why I find L. James particularly troubling, because she didn't even accidentally get better, which means she must be trying not to get. Like, how did she avoid it?
Yeah, complete lack of confidence, which is believable.
But yeah, that's possible.
Or she's like, this is what worked before, this is what sold, so I can't get better because then I'll lose my audience.
I know all the people who loved my books because of their really poor grammar and repetition will not support them anymore.
If it works, you don't want to change the formula a bit. And, for whatever reason, those things did work.
So, yeah, I think her latest book is called The Mister, and it's about some gangster who is human trafficked. I don't know. It sounded very convoluted and not like something I would be interested in. So, and then he finds that objectionable, which is like, I guess, but I guess he's some kind of gangster that has nothing to do with human trafficking. And that's just where he draws the line. But
well, there are definitely gangs that are not going to be involved with human trafficking.
Yeah, I don't think like Kiryu, for example, would be really into human trafficking. That doesn't seem like his deal.
No, nor drugs. Honestly, he's they appear to be in the racketeering business. So.
Yeah. So yeah, but that was I don't even know what the hell we were talking. Oh yeah, women who don't use their women names, and L. James is an example of that. Although,
but not exactly. It's a lesser version, shall we say?
Just because she didn't write literature, man. Anyway, she may not have written the worst traditionally published book of all time anymore. She may have actually. There was a book published called Handbook for Mortals. And people actually have developed the conspiracy theory that the person who wrote My Immortal wrote Handbook for Mortals because the writing is very similar.
And My Immortal is that awful fanfic that
Ebony, Darkness, yes. Raven, Ray. Yes, yes.
1.3. 1.3 out of 5 on Goodreads. I didn't think that was possible.
I've never seen anything less than like 2 and some change on Goodreads. So that's impressive. That's impressive. Yeah, there's no way that L. James has written anything close to that bad, so.
think I actually heard about this. Not that the book is good. I think I heard
No,
about
because
the
it was
system
on.
that she gamed the system.
She gamed the New York Times
I heard that.
bestseller list, and
That's
so
what I
it
heard.
was on. It was a New York Times bestseller for 27 hours. Before the New York Times realized that she was gaming it, and that's against their, that's a disqualifier, so they took her off.
Yeah.
But she was on it for 27 hours, so.
I do remember hearing that story. So I have
Yeah.
sort of heard about this. I didn't know it was that bad.
I mean, that is the only reason to have heard about the book, just to be fair. It's not like their book has any kind of redeeming value or whatever.
Homeless hunters? Can you do a little research for me real quick on what a homeless hunter is? Like, is this a cultural thing? Because now I'm really curious.
Homeless hunters are punk kids who beat up homeless people.
I was thinking it was some sort of government agency kind of thing. It just got rough or something. Like, I expect the government to be rough.
There's a big deal when I lived in Miami because there were homeless hunter gangs going around beating up the homeless. And when they got caught, they were all wealthy white frat guys.
Shocking.
Surprise! I know that sounds crazy, but it's true.
All cultures are equally valid.
Incorrect.
Clearly. And white guy frat is one of those cultures.
White guy frat culture, not valid.
I'm going to have a hard time deciding if it's better or worse than genital mutilation culture. And I think it is probably going to be marginally better, if only because it doesn't always result in permanent horrific damage.
That, and you'd have to, you could probably do a kind of back of the envelope calculation on the number of women harmed.
Sure,
and
the numbers
probably
the cultures are not the same size
because the cultures are not the same size, right? But yeah.
But I had to think about it for a little while, right?
Yeah, which just isn't humanity great in 2020? I mean, I guess one plus of what's going
many
down
of these bad
is
people are going to die.
No frat guy culture. So, like, they aren't able to do their thing right now. So
I think they're going to find a way to survive.
They're not going to figure. This is why we need to go to all online learning, because then there will be no frat culture.
Oh, so speaking of a couple of things, you reminded me that I talked to a number of my coworkers today about the schooling systems that they are putting their kids in, because it's not consistent across my region, especially with one of the school systems that I and my coworkers are putting our kids into. So a lot of interesting discussion there about the differences and what's working and what's not working and who's paying for all of this. And in that discussion, it occurred to me that I was on the 6th floor kitchen, which I didn't used to do because I used to be on the 9th floor. So yeah, we've moved to the 6th floor. I don't remember who I told you that we've moved to the 6th floor.
You did tell me when that happened, and I was like, that must be relaxing.
Thank God, it's so much better.
Yeah. The 9th floor was the chief executive floor, so all of the most important department heads in the organization that we worked for were all on one floor torturing their assistants. It was like them and their assistants. So,
make it happen.
yeah.
So
it was just them and their assistants. So
and the CEO could come by at any point, and the dignitaries from other companies would always come in.
Yeah.
I had my Rubik's Cube on my desk, and bigwig dignitary comes in from another company down in the islands, and he looks at the Rubik's Cube on my desk. Can you solve this? Yes. How long? 5 minutes? He takes it, shuffles it up, plops it back down. looks at his watch, and looks at me.
What a bunch of dicks.
Fortunately, I solved it in about 2.5 minutes. So.
Yeah, I remember like back when I worked there, there was a different CEO, and he was very like hands off. He had his executive assistant was who struck
Actually took care of
fear
things.
into the hearts of everyone. But every once in a while, like you would look down, your phone would ring, and you would look down, and it would say CEO's office, and you'd be like, "Oh my god,
What did we do?
what have I done? I'm gonna get fired!" Like, and you pick it up, hello, please don't kill me. So,
I want to keep working.
yeah, that was always terrifying. That was always so awful. So,
I just want to do my job and be left in peace.
yeah, because it was always something that they needed help with immediately that only your department could do something with, and also the executive assistant who is in charge of everything cannot be found. And so, of course, there would also be miscommunication all up and down the chain about where we are in this project and who has what to give to who. And of course, everyone looks like an asshole. Yeah. And when you want to look your best. But yeah. Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, and I'm finding little things all over the place here. Now, it is not a huge area. You're right about that. Is there another one? No, it's just the last one was blinking away. So they've got a lot of stuff hidden in a small area. They've really
Correct.
packed a lot in.
Yeah, like the opening area of Dragon Age Inquisition is bigger in terms of square miles, right? But it's mostly a field, so it's definitely a lot of design work that they had to do, even though the area is small. All right, so you wanted to talk about how Gems of War is ruining your life.
Yeah, so I got back into Gems of War to play with some friends, and so we were all in a guild. I had to leave my old guild, which wasn't that bad because it wasn't like we were hugely active, and I joined their guild, and we've been playing a lot. I've been playing Gems of War pretty thoroughly, competitively.
You love that field?
It's a nice field.
How do you feel about the bears, Ypod?
Anyway, so I've
Bears were very controversial.
I have been playing
yes.
way too much Gems of War. Like, what have I been playing recently? For the past few weeks, would always have been Gems of War, and for hours and hours, it sucks up so much time to play it that competitively, and it's just not fun anymore. I'm done. I want to be done. But they just released this extra mode, which is going to go on for the next 4 weeks and change. And if I stop now, I'm going to lose all my progress in it, so I just got to keep going for another 3.5 weeks. And I don't want to.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah. Well, that's after 4 months of solid play, so it's like...
The Druffalo, yeah. I remember so I was super excited for Dragon Age Inquisition, couldn't wait. Put it in the PlayStation, got into the Hinterlands, I think it's called, and I'm running around just like exploring the game. I'm so excited to be, playing it again. And this bear comes out of nowhere and is like eating my ass like very aggressively. And just repeatedly murders me over and over and over again. I'm like, what is with the fucking bears in this area? They are so overpowered. So I just Googled, like, what is with the fucking bears in the Hinterlands? And this Reddit thread pops up about how everyone is over the bears. Why are the bears so overpowered? Who made the fucking bears? Like, it's crazy. And then somebody found on the BioWare profile of the guy responsible for designing the Hinterlands that he'd been attacked by a bear while hiking once. And so it was like personal. Like, it's just...
Everyone needs to know how dangerous bears are.
Everyone needs to really feel the pain of being attacked by a bear. As much as I can recreate it for them, I will. And then someone was like, I'm trying to play but the Hinterlands, but I keep getting attacked by these bears. And someone was like, if you don't think Dragon Age Inquisition is fun, leave the fucking Hinterlands, move to the next area. And so the guy who got attacked by the bear, who designed the Hinterlands, came on and posted on that Reddit thread that I designed the Hinterlands and I approve this message. It's not supposed to be a place where you hang out for a while. It's just supposed to ease you in.
Honestly, you don't want to be paying bribes, but he appears to be a cop, and cops are one of the guys that you're going to have to bribe in situations like this. It's all bribe.
I mean, if you are in an organized crime family, you're definitely going to be paying off cops. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts.
So, 200... No. No.
Nani?
It's definitely a lot of dollars.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, man. We're gonna turn that number down considerably.
Anyway, I put in my PSN ID into the Sony whatever the fuck.
You either get it or you don't, right? And if
I
you
have
get it, you
no
can flip
intention. I have no intention of buying a PS5 on launch to use, but I would absolutely pay 600, 700, whatever the fuck, so that when no one can get one because of manufacturing problems because of COVID, I can sell it on eBay. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, my sister wants my brother and I to agree to all ask for PS5s for Christmas. So that we can all play games together without having to worry about who has a PS5 and who has a PS4 and whatever. And then also none of us have to pay for them. And I think this is mean, not because my parents can't afford it, because whatever the fuck, it's no big deal. But not for them. But those poor people trying to track down 3 PS5s during the holidays, that's what's mean. When there's going to be limited supplies, I think.
Yeah.
Like, they're anticipating limited supplies because of the current world circumstances, so...
Maybe they could get some help.
My parents.
Yeah, some shoppers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I'll just tell my mom to call your wife.
Yeah, she's really good at that kind of stuff, honestly.
She's basically like a ninja shopper, so... If we end up doing it. But I'm like, we all have PS4s, we could just play those for 2 years. You know, like, unless there's some PS5 game that comes out that we all three want to play, and we all three want to play it together, in which case, when that game comes out, then we could get PS5s, you know? So.
Yeah.
So why pause not gonna play Gears anymore?
No more gems. That's pretty reasonable. I think the campaigns could have been interesting, but the rewards are pretty poor. I enjoyed building up the underworld portions for a bit, and I've enjoyed the full delve situation for a couple of factions, but there's just too much. You know, they want this to be the only game I'm ever going to play, basically. I like games. I don't like a game. I like games. So, once I'm done with the campaign portion, which is the next 3.5 week thing that I was talking about, I'm definitely going to step back for quite a while, I'd say. So I might stop playing it entirely and get back to playing fun stuff, which coincidentally will be right around the time the next G-Task starts up. So, yay!
Well, and you were also thinking about starting maybe a game series with one of the mini Cronoses.
Yes.
That lives with you.
So
that's a possibility. That's going to take up time as well.
Yeah, my eldest daughter has finally decided that her father was right about something, and that because the way I described this to Des the other day is that the kids don't listen to me ever. If Dad likes it, then immediately it sucks, and we should never ever listen to him.
Yeah.
But if they find it on their own, the thing that I recommended to them 2 or 3 years ago suddenly becomes pretty awesome. So she has on her own come to find Undertale, and very much wants to play Undertale. So was thinking that maybe, like, as a weekend series, I'll play Undertale with her, and we can stream it out.
Yeah, that could be cute. And then I suggested when they were done with that, he could play Fire Emblem Three Houses with them, because he could do the tactical stuff and they could do the running around school giving people presents stuff. But then he said the same problem applies, that if he suggests it, then they'll think it's stupid.
Yeah.
So
they got to find it on their own, and then we can do that kind of stuff. So I just got to lay it out in such a way that they find it.
And then, did you buy that Nintendo game? Because
no, I still haven't bought it. So in part of our discussion, you mentioned that we were talking about the PSN Network games. So there's a couple of PlayStation games I'd really like to be playing still, theoretically. I mean, the gist of it is that if I really want to play these games, I can play them on my PlayStation 1 or on an emulator, because I own a copy, so it's completely legitimate in my opinion. The owners of the copyright feel otherwise, but it's a enough gray area, right? I'm allowed to make a copy of a game I own.
Yeah, I mean, morally, you don't have to feel bad about it.
Morally.
And that's really all that matters. You know, regardless of how it is legally. Don't use emulators, they're bad. You know, of course, we would never suggest you use emulators. No. Because that would be wrong.
You have to make sure they should follow all applicable laws in your jurisdiction. But we know that you guys all live in the jurisdiction of the United States, so we can't even tell you what those are. So check what your laws are.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in your country, emulators may be cool beans. Who knows?
Well, I sent him
Tell your kids you hate Gems of War, and you'd be really mad if they sneaked on the Xbox and grinded Underworld Renown for you.
The problem is that I've already had long conversations with my middle daughter, because she's seen how much I've been playing it, and I'm getting real Lies of Astaroth vibes from this whole experience. Like, Lies of Astaroth came very close to destroying my family life for a while, and Gems of War is trying to do the same kind of thing, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. So it's just not worth it. And she understands that I don't like doing it, so it's not. They have no interest in taking over that pain for me. Anyway, so the game Brigandine is the one I was talking about, and as we were talking about this, you did a search for it to find out what it was, I guess, and found out that there is a sequel that came out this year, like 3 months ago, but it's on the Nintendo Switch, so I need to go get a copy of that.
Yeah, it's not that old, and it's only $50 right now, which, you know, for a Switch game is as good as you're gonna get if it's a Nintendo title.
It's not a Nintendo first title, party title, so I'll probably wait for it to get a little cheaper.
You can keep an eye on it.
Yeah, because it's not something I really have to have immediately. I can definitely wait on this one, because I have so many other games to play, but I would definitely enjoy playing Brigandine. It was probably one of my favorite PlayStation 1 games. It's up there in the top 10 for sure. Man, harsh. We may have just sent that guy to his death.
So, do you want to talk about Genghis Khan, or...
Okay, so Genghis Khan...
I have no idea what...
Yeah, Genghis Khan is more YouTube stuff.
I have no idea what that's about, so I can't lead you in there gracefully.
That's fine. So yeah, I was just throwing out some interesting topics. I mentioned that I've been listening to a lot of music on YouTube to put together the thing, so I had a lot of YouTube topics. This is another one that's a YouTube music topic.
Before you dive into Genghis Khan,
okay.
I do have a YouTube thing. So last night we decided we were just gonna, like, you know, float around in the pool, not really swim, but just like chill and drink rum and coke and that sort of thing.
Nice.
And we were just reading, like, Today I Learned posts from Reddit to each other. And one of them was about a type of music called doom jazz.
Oh, nice.
Which is specifically designed to be sampled on doom metal to create, like, more of a feeling of isolation or whatever. And I was like, this all sounds stupid and like shit I don't care about, but I know someone who probably would be into this. So, doom jazz, you can check it out.
I will definitely check that out. I was remembering something else where I'd had a TIL, and it was very recently, so I had to look it up because I had written it down. And apparently the TIL I learned was over the weekend in Gems of War, and the thing that I learned is that you have a maximum armor value. So that's not very exciting.
Some of the today I learns are really depressing because it means that
Someone
no
didn't
one's
know that
like
earlier on.
getting taught like basic shit in school anymore. You know,
Yes.
like it's always really, really, you're just like, really? Like, please tell me this. Please tell me you're just trolling for karma because, oh my gosh. Otherwise I despair. So like Mr. Des said he saw one the other day where someone had learned about the Titanic and I was like, that person is just trolling. There's no way. There's no way. But I saw one that made me really mad last night and I don't remember what it was. I mean, obviously I wasn't that mad, but
First world mad.
yeah, it was first world mad, yeah.
Alright, so back to Genghis Khan. YouTube is like, okay, we're recommending you various songs now. I mentioned the Melee Crush stuff earlier, and Genghis Khan was another one that they recommended to me. And so, this is a Mike Snow song. Mike Snow is M-I-I-K-E, Snow. And they are a Norwegian pop group. So, okay, it's pop music, and it's a catchy song. It's pretty good, and it has a lot of views because it's a catchy enough song, but also the music video for Mike Snow's Genghis Khan is a really good music video. It's very artful, very cinematic, and it's hard to really describe, so maybe I should just link it in chat. And everyone can go watch it instead of watching me stream for a few minutes.
Oh, someone had learned about the Wind Talkers, that's what it was. And I was like, there's a movie about this, okay? You can't be TILing about things that there's pop movies about.
I think you absolutely can, especially if you haven't seen the movie, and the movie is pop movie from 15 years ago. Like, okay, that's legit.
I guess it is old.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
Maybe that person isn't a kid, though. I'm still going to judge them.
That's fine. You're allowed to judge people, right?
Yeah, it's fine. Oh, someone just learned about John Brown. Just literally that he existed. Not like nothing nothing unexpected. I did once see John Brown described as the first domestic terrorist and really sat there with that one to see if I thought that was accurate.
I think
like
that was fair. I don't know if he's the first.
I mean, that's one of those things.
He's
like maybe he's the
successful.
first recorded, you know, where he made a big enough stir that we know who they are today. But like,
right.
It just seems impossible that no domestic terrorism ever happened before John Brown. You know. So I'm gonna rate it plausible, but probably not. I also, that one kind of bothered me because, you know, I'm probably more sympathetic to John Brown than I am to the people that he was pissed about. So yeah, it's tough to think of him as the terrorist. But I mean, yeah,
you can be a terrorist for good because I realize it sounds very
wait. Did you just? Maybe you want to like add some qualifiers. First of all, don't be a terrorist. That's you know, but yeah, if your cause is just and the law is unjust and you cross some lines, sure. Well, I've actually been to Harper's Ferry. Did you know there's like a wax museum of his trial in Harper's Ferry?
That's crazy.
And you can see him get hanged. Like, that's really good to show kids. You should take your kids.
Crazy. You don't have sake. Why do you not have sake? Come on, guys.
Can we quote that? What are we quoting?
Yeah, that's
You can be a terrorist for good. That must be what it is. You can be a terrorist for good.
The Streambot chat should allow me to do that. Let's see here. Was
Now, the real fun fact about John Brown that some people don't know is that the song um, the Battle Hymn of the Republic was based on the song John Brown's Body Lies Moldering in the Grave. And when a preacher heard one of his parishioners singing it, he chastised them and as an exercise made them rewrite the lyrics to be holy. And so that is, then we got Battle Hymn of the Republic, which he then published as if he'd written it like every good priest. So, oh, speaking of priests, so some bishops in the United States got together to do a like pro Black Lives Matter demonstration or whatever. So they had Black Lives Matter posters and someone photoshopped them to Bishops Love Money.
That was awesome.
And Mr. Jess was like, "No boys love me." That's a missed opportunity. And I was like, "Ooh."
I'm sure someone is going to do that now, but that's
That's
man. Ouch.
I'm literally doing it right now. No, wait.
All right, I have to. Quoting is not working for some reason tonight, so we'll have to figure that out. But I want to add it right now if I can figure out how to do it.
Here, I'll just email you. Then you can do it later.
But later's not now. Yeah.
I know, but you know, it's not very compelling gameplay.
No, it's not. Isn't this why we have moderators? Is this why we have a moderator?
I mean, I don't think I have access to the quote system
You probably
that you're
don't,
talking
actually.
about. I mean, oh, you did.
I did send it to you. Yes, you do have access to it.
You did.
But that doesn't mean we know how it works yet.
That doesn't mean, yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I haven't clicked the link yet to set it up. So, just, which normally I am a little more professional than that, but I think I just was busy when it came in and was like, I'll do it later, and then didn't set myself a reminder, and here we are.
Yeah.
So.
It has only been like 2 weeks, so 3.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks.
I was listening to some quotes from Barry Goldwater recently, and one of his famous ones that I'm particularly fond of is that extremism in the cause of liberty is no vice. So that kind of fits in right there with the whole you can be a terrorist for good.
That also, yeah, and there's also, you know, the tree of liberty must be watered with the blood of patriots.
Exact same sentence.
Must oft be watered, I think. You got to do it often. So, yeah, you know, the founding fathers, well, Barry Goldwater is not a founding father, even though he is super old.
Well, he's also dead now, but also all the founding fathers are, so.
Yeah. Okay, I need to search my... How am I going to search for this shit? Maybe I forwarded it to myself on my stream-related email where I don't get any email, and that was smart of me.
You should check out, like, it's probably under Streamlabs, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't do it, so that's cool. All right, I guess I'll go back and search for Streamlabs. Alert box widget. That's not what I need.
Well, I was certainly talking about that at some point.
How to use collections. Oh yeah, that was the thing. Oh yeah, here I found it. I found it because remember I accidentally put it in the roadmap I sent you because I didn't want to lose access to it, and then you clicked on it and you were like, "Is this for me?"
Oh yeah, because you sent it right back to me. It's like, what? What? All right, I found the quote. I can add a quote here. All right, so I'm adding the quote. The quote was, "I can be a terrorist for good."
It was actually worse because it was "you can be a terrorist for good."
Okay, well I like that better, honestly. You can be a terrorist for good.
Yeah, because that sounds like a call to action. Whereas "I can be a terrorist for good" sounds like...
Is that a good enough version of the quote that we're happy with? You can be a terrorist for good?
Yeah, let's do that. You can be a terrorist for good.
Alright, so that has been added. It is now quote 25. So if you can figure out how to make quotes work in chat, again, it should be working, but for whatever reason, if it's not, it is saved at least, and if you try it, it should work.
Wow, they want me to set up a PayPal, a Skrill, and a Unite Pay. Unite Pay?
Well, the whole purpose is so that if people do want to donate money, we have a variety of ways available for them.
I know, but didn't you do this?
Yes, I did. I don't know, but maybe you're not logged in.
No. I don't know. Join Prime? No, I'm not doing any of this shit. Oh my god. Okay. Alright, so now I'm here. And... I've accepted the invitation, but I have no idea what to do.
Awesome! It's working! Good job.
I see you didn't choose to own this quote.
No, I put it in. It's the information is not coming through in that quote system for whatever reason. It's in there, but when it's coming through like that, so
Got it.
don't know why. Man, I need to go to a store and sell some of these gold plates I've been picking up. I mean, I assume that they're just for money.
Alright, I'll figure this out later / never.
You've made progress. That's all we can really ask
I made
for.
progress. I made progress. Okay, so now you can talk about Genghis Khan because we got way derailed.
Yes. So I put a link to the video in this in the chat, so you can watch it if you want. And I'm going to spoil the video now. So I mean,
what chat?
like in this chat that we have here, but back. Really? Is it not here?
It's not.
What the hell? I posted it.
I love how every time you have to do something, I get flipped off by the tree, and I'm starting to take it personally.
You
like
sent me the tree.
Like I'm the one. Yeah, I know. This is what we call karma. While you're doing that, I'll just mention the other piece of news, which is that expert overclockers successfully pushed Doom Eternal past 1,000 frames per second because one of the engineers from Doom Eternal said that it could technically run at 1,000 frames per second, but that you don't have a computer that will support it. So they, were basically challenge accepted. And so they did it. You can't do it at home because it requires you to pour liquid nitrogen over the computer while it's working. So not recommended. But if you want to see if... And also...
That's
didn't
not gonna
appear
work.
to actually do anything.
So I managed to put the link into the Twitch chat, but YouTube is stripping out links.
All right, well, you're just going to have to email it to me.
Yeah,
and
which is what I'm going to do anyway.
Put it in the chat
Or
because it's 1988.
Or, I mean, it's a really easy Google search anyway, but I'll send you the email. Hold on a second. So the video is pretty fun, and I remember having seen it before. So I listened to the song, and I'm actually not watching the video because I'm doing work while I'm listening to it, and something about it catches my attention. It's like, I've heard this song before. YouTube recommended it to me before. And at the very end, I go and watch the video at the end of it, and it's like, oh yeah, I had seen this before. Hello? Date. So that intrigued me. So I watched the whole thing again to refresh my memory on it, because I didn't remember it specifically. And as I'm watching it, pieces of it are really catching me as odd. And so I spent some time thinking about it, and then I showed it to my wife with some commentary along the lines of, can you help me remember when I sent this to you? Because I can't find it in our chats or our email log, and I track everything with email, so it's not there. But I know I've seen this before, and there's no way I didn't send it to you. And she responds back with, what the hell are you talking about? I have never seen this before. It is completely insane. What are you talking about? Also, yeah, what is going on here? So, either I have an incredible false flag memory where I think I saw this thing that I didn't actually see, or I saw it and I didn't send it to her, which feels very, very odd for me to have done. What really I want to come out with as a story, though, is not that happened, but the music video itself is this quasi love story. You have the evil villain and the protagonist, or James Bond kind of hero, who is being tortured by the villain, but they have a strained love relationship as well, and the evil guy is going home to his wife and he's not happy, and the video ends with them, the villain and the hero, getting together and keeping the villain's kids from his marriage.
Yes. One of the top comments is, glad this divorce court was progressive enough to give him and his boyfriend custody of the children instead of the vengeful ex-wife.
Exactly. So that was where the conversation with my wife went. It's like, these comments are very amusing to her, and that is, pretty impressive that would never happen in any divorce court, that, a no-fault divorce happens and the kids go with the father to the boyfriend. It's a very, very weird thing.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to marry the villain.
So the comments are fantastic.
Yeah, they're really...
And the video is pretty cool, too. It's a well-done video. I think I mentioned that before. So the thing that really got me in trouble, though, is that the actress who is at the end talking and peering in on the couple in bed is a continuation. There's the next level of the theme. So I saw this actress as a supervillain who has a thing for the other supervillain and is, turning it up to the next level. They're going to go up a higher chain on this story. When I rewatched it, it became very clear to me that the actress was actually his wife. But it wasn't something that I spotted right away. And my wife thinks I'm completely insane for not recognizing it right away. This character that you see in the totality of the music video, like 10 seconds, she's not a major player, and you see her again at the end, and I'm supposed to know that that's the same person? I didn't follow through. So it's me overthinking things and making things more complicated than they are, in a nutshell, and it was very, very strange interaction with my relationship there. All of that came apart very awkwardly. So I found that to be a very interesting experience.
I feel like this is just like marriage counseling now. This is like the second time we've had to bring up like some awkward marriage stuff. You're not good with faces.
I'm really not good with faces.
And also, you're particularly not good with celebrity faces. So
I would just particularly not.
This is definitely like faces. A you thing. Now you're also an overthinker.
Yep.
So this is all makes sense to me that this went down the way that it did. I'm no longer I'm occasionally surprised by what you don't know, because there's some stuff that it's like, if you had posted it on Today I Learned, I'd be like, really? Are you 6? But other than that, I already told you I don't like Space Force. I guess I'll just like it again, Netflix. How many times do I have to thumbs it down to make you happy? They have messaged me twice today about whether or not I liked Space Force and want to continue it, and I'm like, why do you need to know so bad?
Why are they even messaging you?
Well, yeah.
What's going on with that?
Well, I mean, they must be really... I guess Space Force must not be very popular. Like, they're trying to suss out...
I think they're trying to make it more popular than it is. I can believe that, but I don't think it's unpopular. Everything I've heard is
I don't know.
It's okay.
I didn't find it very funny. So, but then again, I don't find Steve Carell very funny. Or rather, the stuff I've seen that he's been in that's been broadly comedic, I haven't enjoyed as much as the stuff that I've seen him in that's been more dramatic. So something about his comedy doesn't work for me. But I don't think he's an untalented person. Because I've seen him in some more dramatic things, and he is quite an emotional actor. So I don't know.
Is she saying what I think she's saying?
Yeah, I think she is. Oh, there's a manga about a Yakuza who becomes a stay-at-home husband. That's really kind of popular right now.
Hmm.
And he is a DILF. So, the wife, I mean, he's literally just a house husband and the wife does. But because he's a Yakuza, he's so intense about everything. It's, well, let me try. I'm okay. I'm going to try and find it.
Badass dad. That's right up Crow's alley. I don't know if I should take that as a compliment. Like, is that... There's so many ways I could go with that. Like, a badass dad. I am a badass dad. Cool. Awesome. Or, I'm into badass dads. And... I don't think I go that way.
Like, at all or mostly or...
I think that might be too personal a question for this stream.
I mean, I mean, we've already talked about your marriage twice. I thought maybe it was
I'm talking about
night.
my marriage because they're funny stories about what I find to be an amusing part of my relationship.
I mean, I think this is just evidence of your internalized homophobia. So,
So,
Carl Jung would say this is your shadow self making you anxious because you've been suppressing. So,
I need more alcohol before we have this conversation.
okay. I was gonna Google something, but my brain has been completely wiped clean of anything I was doing. So, oh yeah, the manga. Okay.
I don't get it, but it sounds
The
stupid.
Way of the House Husband. The Way of the House Husband.
Nani?
They're not bad boys, they're just bad people. It's too dangerous to talk to them.
What is the difference between being a... Oh, I think she's saying they're not bad boys like the bad boy archetype that women find appealing.
Right, they're actually dangerous criminals.
They're just
thugs.
bad people.
Right.
Yeah, they just suck as humans.
Not the guy who doesn't care about your rules and was going to do whatever he wants, which is her. Right?
Right. The Way of the House Husband is a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Kuosuke Ono, published in the online manga magazine Karagi Bunch since 2018. Follows an ex-Yakuza boss who retires from crime to become a house husband. And it will be adapted into a live-action television drama.
Live action.
Yeah.
Alright, we're doing it. It's taking a bit of time. Let's go. Oh, God.
Oh, and you can buy it on Amazon now. Yay.
Kiryu's so young.
Oh, through Comixology. Oh, no, also paperbacks. Netflix got the YouTube original series Cobra Kai, which
Okay.
is a weird... I was like,
That is
ooh.
odd. Why would you do that? It wasn't even all that good.
Yeah. I don't imagine they paid a lot of money for it. Netflix is also adapting... Oh, I think it comes out Friday.
My number one priority is Majima.
That's true.
It's just-
Majima's his number one. Yeah. Okay, The Way of the House Husband. I'm like moderately intrigued by this.
This guy who keeps trying to kill me.
Yeah.
My library doesn't have it in their manga
Oh,
collection.
that's disappointing. I'm disappointed
Yeah.
for you.
I'm super sad now. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, I could contact them and ask them to order it for me, but I don't care that much, so...
I can't tell if you guys are best friends or arch enemies. Why not both?
Hmm?
Oh, I'm in the Fairfax County Library. I mean, there's no guarantee my library would have it either, but
Fairfax doesn't
Fairfax
have
doesn't.
anything, though, so...
They have nothing. Yes.
Not online. They have a lot in the stacks. But you can't get in the stacks, probably. I mean, I can't get to the Prince
No,
William
you probably
stacks,
can't.
So.
Well, they have it via Comixology or via paperback. I don't know. I'm like, it sounds amusing. I'm not going to buy it from Amazon because, you know, fuck Jeff Bezos, basically. Oh, speaking of Jeff, Jeff wants you to get
Oh, yes.
an Apple Fitbit that takes a picture of you every single day and analyzes the background that you're standing in front of so it can, quote unquote, eliminate the background so that it can tell how much your body fat percentage is.
It's this incredibly accurate device for measuring your body fat, your body size, your overall fitness level, your fitness activities. It is actually quite impressive what this thing can do. It is pretty solid.
Yeah, so it's basically going to know more information about you than your personal physician does.
Because your personal physician doesn't have enough time to do what this thing does.
Right. And in addition to you giving this thing all of this data, which it will then sell for tons of money because it's health data, they want you to pay them $4 a month. And that's only, it's $65. This is what I don't understand. It's $65 for the first 6 months, or if you jump in right now, or after that it'll be $100 for the first 6 months, and then it's $4 a month after that. Which it's like, that's a fuck ton of money.
It is.
Oh, it's called Halo, which fuck you. And it's a tone analyzing health band that allows you to scan your body fat.
Nanny.
Look, I agree with Amazon that the concept of weight loss is flawed and that body fat is a much better predictor of health than weight or BMI or whatever.
Right, because those are just approximations for that other thing anyway.
Yeah, but this is not the way, friends. Please do not give Jeff Bezos all this information.
It's not the money. You can give him the money. Don't give him the
Yeah,
information.
don't give him the information.
It's a powerful tool that in the right hands could be amazing. He is not the right hands. So, I think the device could be pretty cool, and you may not need it to tell you that you're out of shape. That's, fair. I don't need it to tell me I'm out of shape. But what it can do is identify how out of shape you are, and that might motivate you to do something about it. But also, if it is able to track your patterns, it can actually nudge you to be more active in your active periods in ways that are actually very successful in building habits. When you have that level of information, the nudges become much more effective. Again, pretty cool stuff if done right. Bezos won't do it right. He could absolutely do it in a way that would help you, but he's going to do it in a way that enriches him.
Yeah, his number one goal will not be to help you at any point in this discussion. But yeah, I'm not going to pay Jeff Bezos $100 for anything, really, but certainly not for him to spy on me. But this does bring up that I've now, finished the process of giving up sugar, where sugar has stopped punishing me as it leaves my body. So I'm now through the worst of it. And it's always just such a, man, sugar is so bad. It's duh. Obviously, this is not news. But just the thrashing that it gives you on its way out, is you're like, what have you been doing to me this whole time? Why are you so mean, sugar? So I finished.
It is disrespectful.
So now I'm no longer oh my god.
This interview is not going well.
You know, the interviewer is not like a people person, I would say. They haven't read like How to Make Friends and Influence People recently.
Sugar's a bad dad. Don't go rampaging at funeral services anymore, or anywhere else for that.
Is sugar so bad or is sugar so bad? Sugar. Sugar is bad. I'll leave it to your interpretation. So yeah, now that I've moved on from sugar, I'm just like, ugh. Why? Like at one point I had a stomach cramp and I'm like, is this really from sugar leaving my body? And then I Googled and the internet was like, if you stop sugar, you can get dehydrated if you have a cramp. That's probably what's happening. So I drank a bunch of water and I felt better. But then I was like, why is sugar dehydrating me as a punishment for not eating sugar? Like,
Well,
that's also mean.
the sugar was not dehydrating you. The sugar was helping you retain water, perhaps?
I actually did read what was happening, but I forgot. So, but it has something to do with electrolytes.
Huh?
And cells, and how when you burn a bunch of glycogen all at once, which you do if you quit sugar, you burn a ton of glycogen all at once because you aren't taking in new sugar. And so if you burn a ton of glycogen, it has some kind of dehydration effect on your cells where you kind of purge electrolytes. And then because you purge the electrolytes, you can't retain water anymore. To like a normal amount. You can't retain a normal amount of
Until
water.
it builds back up. Okay.
Until it builds back up again, yeah. Or thereabouts. I'm not a cell hydration scientist, okay? So
You're also
but
not
that's
a nut
like
scientist, as we've discovered.
I'm also not a nut scientist. What? I don't remember what we were talking about, but like we were talking about eating cold nuts. Someone was like, maybe someone on TV was like refusing to eat cold nuts or something like that.
Why would you heat up nuts?
People warm nuts. This is a thing. Have you never had a warm nut in your mouth?
I told you, I need more to drink before we have this conversation.
Okay, fine. But, you know, I'm just saying. Plenty of people have enjoyed a warm nut, so...
Tell me about the mouthfeel.
What's the difference in mouthfeel between a warm nut and a cold nut? So, yeah, I think people, like... It has something to do with the oils. Like, the oils come out more and it enhances the flavor. So yeah, you can get kind of like a demi roast effect by just microwaving a bowl of nuts. So I don't think you have to do it very long. How to microwave your nuts?
No.
So you microwave your nuts at 1 minute intervals, stirring in between until they've reached the toastiness desire that, you know, the toastiness level that you want. So.
Good.
And all different nuts have all different amounts that they will have to be microwaved.
Oh no.
We're gonna battle for the ultimate bad boy. Don't be so uptight. Really?
Answer the question. He gives the best answer and gets the most bad. That's fine. That's fine. Yes, I like that better than fighting the florist and Date.
I'm sorry for that noise.
He's still better than Paul.
Does Paul make a lot of noise?
Well, of course. He thumps his microphone on a regular basis. On accident, but... Fair bit of work in editing.
Still, stop doing that.
Yeah. He's getting better.
Is his microphone in a shock mount, or is he like literally punching the microphone?
Well, he's gesticulating, and it's out in front of him, and he just gesticulates a little too wildly and taps it, so...
He needs a lav then, because
A what?
that would solve that problem.
A what?
A lavalier. Those are the microphones you pin to like your tie clip or your collar.
Okay.
The little tiny ones.
Yeah.
You can get them. You can get condenser ones. The mics are not expensive. It's their little packs that are that can be expensive. But I mean, Paul's not poor, so whatever.
Yeah.
Or at least if he is, I have totally misunderstood
Yeah.
everything about him. So.
He is definitely not poor, and I feel that is actually remarkable at times because, not to go too much into Paul's personal business, but he has had some weird things happen in his life that, if he were not him, could easily have been financially crippling. Like,
right.
His wife had to stop working for medical reasons. He's been laid off. You know, there are things in his life that do seriously disrupt people financially, and he seems to bounce back stronger than ever every single time, which is awesome and to his credit. And I don't know how he does it, because I look at my life and I'm like, if any of those things happen, obviously my wife doesn't work, but that's not the point. If I had a similar style of setback to my life, then
if you got laid off,
yeah, it'd be an awful thing. I could get another job, but I couldn't get another job that paid as much. It's one of the reasons why I'm still in my job, right?
Right. Oh, well, and even if it paid on par, it wouldn't have the benefits that you have because you have 1950 style benefits. So
pretty nice. I will take my 1950 style benefits. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, retirement and pay for kids' school, and yeah. What are we talking about? Oh yeah, I'm gonna send you a link for a microphone for Paul. Okay. How much do you think you'd be willing to spend on a microphone?
Up to 250, 300 maybe, if it's a really good one.
Alright, I can do that. I can get him a Shure lavalier. I can even get him a wireless one so he can walk around the room if he wants to pace. The MX185 is $207, but he's gonna have to buy like other shit to make it work. So on the website that I send you to, it's gonna tell you that you have to call a professional, and like you do need to call a professional. Wait, no, I'll send you a link to a pack of shit on the B&H photo. So he doesn't have to call a professional. Yeah, here we go. He can have this. This is almost the one that I have. Exactly. So, $299 for the whole shebang. This is a very long link.
Nani?
So, it is what it is.
Huh?
And then he'll just start like, the one thing you can't do is you can't like tap your chest or point to your own chest. Like you can't touch your chest. So if he does that a lot when he gestures, like if he points to himself when he says I a lot, this isn't going to be any better because the microphone's going to pick up a chest thump.
Right, I don't think he does that a ton, but I have seen him do it once or twice maybe, so I don't know if it's perfect. I'll think it over.
Yeah, here.
Yeah.
Lavalier for Paul.
Uh.
Don't touch your chest. Otherwise,
You're going to a tanning salon every day. Having less common sense than normal.
having less common sense than normal women. Absolutely.
That's a terrible answer, though.
Doesn't she just want them to do what she wants them to do?
No, she wanted... Because she said at the beginning of the interview that the most important bad boy accessory was a pair of sunglasses. So I think the tanning salon is the correct answer.
I'm going to look this up. You don't want to mess this up. You've been on this quest forever.
I'm pretty sure this is the right answer. It's definitely not having less common sense than normal men. If that's the right answer, then I will resign my I'm a gamer shirt. It could be I don't have a clue, but it's not the second option.
All right, I'm just having trouble finding it, so I'm going to type in going to a tanning salon every day. Okay. Oh my god.
Alright, so it's sub-story 51.
It's badass dads. Yeah. It's having less common sense than normal men. Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, I'm not. I'm looking at the internet now, and that's what it's telling me. And as we know, the internet is never wrong.
No, the thing I'm seeing... Is it on NeoSeeker?
Yeah.
Alright, well, we're on the same page. So, I was hoping we had at least had... So, it looks like the best choice... He didn't make this best choice for the second one, which I also didn't do. I also didn't get the first one. So, I might lose this anyway, but... Fine. No, I really can't. Apparently, I need to also turn in my I'm a Gamer shirt, because this is just awful. What are you saying about the middle-aged man with the... No.
Okay.
Alright, whatever. Italian shoulder bag. Yay! Alright, that's another sub-story down. Let's see what our sub-story situation is looking like, because I feel like we've done a bunch, but I know there's many, many more. You're 37, you're not old!
I love when you type something and Google's like, do you mean this thing that you just typed? And you're like, did I not type that? Was that not a thing that I typed?
And you didn't.
What the fuck was I typing?
Right.
Where was I?
I have done that. It's like, I typed that wrong? And I looked
So
closer, and I did
typed-
type it wrong.
I typed pre-Sonos Studio 24C, where Studio 20, it was Studio no space 24 no space C, and they said, did you mean pre-Sonos Studio space 24C? So I really feel like YouTube or Google's just being petty at this point. So, I mean, yes, obviously, obviously.
The pedantic Google correction.
You are such an asshole, Google.
Yeah.
All right, I've got Paul all set for
whenever he feels like spending the money.
Yeah, for 300. It'll be like $399 plus an XLR cable, like $10, $415. But this would be excellent audio. Like, we're talking, he'd be making digital samples from, you know, sound waves or whatever the fuck microphones record. So, you know, it would be a much better sound. And he could stick any microphone at all he wanted to into the preamp that does the sample conversion. So rather than like using a USB mic, which only records digital samples.
There are so many sub-stories.
Yeah, you're gonna be playing this game for a long time.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, like on your own time.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot in the game. Plus, like, you have to play all the games and stuff too, right, for the achievements. So.
Yeah, there's a ton of more content to go. So let's main quest is book. Nope. Haruka was kidnapped by Lao Ka Long. I've been waiting a long time to pay him back. Date-san will be at Purgatory. Dang it.
Gotta go to Purgatory.
I was just in Purgatory.
You're always in Purgatory. So yeah, you've been engaging with YouTube a lot.
I have, and it's
You
probably...
also saw a Tenet ad.
I saw a lot of Tenet ads.
A lot of Tenet ads. Okay. I've seen a Tenet ad. A single Tenet ad.
Yeah,
At least that has penetrated my brain to the point where I recognized it as seeing a Tenet ad.
And it started today. That's when it came up. So my question on this one was: does YouTube realize that I liked Christopher Nolan's movies like Inception, and therefore should probably like Tenet, and is therefore targeting me? Or is it just this is market saturation advertising and they're bombarding everyone, and I happen to be watching a lot of YouTube right now? And I don't know what the answer to that question is, because it is well targeted coming after me, but it could just be market saturation. And that's my theory on this is that's actually when you can, if you have good targeting, you can't tell the difference, because they're getting me ads that are more relevant to me. You can tell bad targeting, but you can't tell good targeting.
Yes. I recently engaged with some bad targeted ads. 2 examples of poorly targeted ads that I engaged with recently were an Hermes ad. Now, I frequently receive luxury goods ads for some reason on Facebook. I don't know why. Because while I'm not poor and I'm not going to pretend that I am, I'm also not Hermes rich, okay? And I'm not Cartier rich. I mean, while I could technically afford some of the things that Cartier sells, like their toothpicks, I would never. You know what I mean?
Why
like
would
I would
buy
never.
Their toothpicks?
What?
Why would you buy their toothpicks?
Why would you buy a toothpick? Exactly. So, anyways, so that's a fail, right? But the weirdest one recently was when, for a while, I got a raft of ads for custom wedding attire of the type that you would wear if you were a Muslim from like Pakistan or like the part of India that's next to Pakistan, which if you're from Pakistan you probably think is Pakistan, you know, whatever, that whole area. That's what you would wear in your wedding, to get custom gowns made by the top designers in Pakistan and have them like shipped to the US. And I was like, what in the fuck is like, number one, I'm not getting married right now, and I've been married for an amount of time that's longer than a few weeks, so Facebook should have figured this out by now. Number two, this is not what I would wear to a wedding if I got married. So I don't know where this came from. I don't know what happened. This is even weirder than when every once in a while I get ads that are targeted for black women. That's not as weird to me as this, because I do kind of engage with the types of websites that might lead a computer to think that I might be black. So, you know, that's not as weird. That's not as weird. I mean, it's weird because I don't do it enough that I think it should like flip over, you know. But whatever. But yeah, like that was totally weird. So I don't know. You algorithms sometimes get ideas in their heads that I'm just like, I don't know what's happening here, but you have messed up. And recently, YouTube only showed me Native American content for like a week and a half, and I was like, what? I mean, this is interesting, and I'm watching it, which of course just YouTube's like, we were right.
We nailed it.
We nailed it. She's Native American. I was like, great.
I went searching for a video of people playing Crokinole. Do you know what Crokinole is?
No.
Okay. Crokinole is a game where you flip discs on a circular board and try to get it into a hole, avoiding pegs. And if it doesn't go into the very small hole, then it will stay on the board, and the next player has to hit your disc with their disc. And that shuffleboard is scoring points towards a manual dexterity. So it's scoring manual dexterity. And it's a lot of fun play. Not necessarily the most fun thing to watch, but fun enough, I guess. And now we're gonna have a big fight here. Anyway, I was introduced to Crokinole a little over a year ago, and I couldn't remember the name of the game.
Was it by a 95-year-old man?
I mean, no, but I can see why you would think that. We'll come back to that in a second, because that's relevant to another thing I was going to say. Even though
I mean, it looks like curling.
Yes, it's made by people who are like, I can't go outside and curl right now, but I want to enjoy the experience of curling, so...
Right. So, yeah, that's what it looks like. Like tiny indoor travel curling.
You're not entirely wrong.
Wipeout says it's one of the many prides of Canada.
Yes, and it's fun. It's a fun game. So,
people play it on the ice in Canada.
Sorry, I'm off right here. I wanted to remember the name of the game, and I couldn't remember the name of the game. I remembered the game experience, but I had only been introduced by a year ago, and I hadn't talked about it for a long time. So I was like, I don't know what this is. And eventually, I got to a point where I could Google enough that YouTube was able to say, do you want to see this video? And this video was a national championship game being played a couple of years ago, and it had millions of views. And all of the comments on the video were along the lines of, the algorithm brought me here, I have no idea what I'm watching, but cool, thanks, this was kind of fun.
Oh,
see you again next time, algorithm.
I was on a video like that. It was on a guy who's a professional shoe polisher.
Oh my gosh, what?
And he was like showing how, he restores and polishes shoes. And he would restores finishes and, you know, fixes shoes and stuff. And of course he only works with very expensive shoes that men are really attached to and have paid, you know, $1,000 or more for, or that have been passed down through a family, you know, shoes like this.
Sure.
Anyways, but like one day I just like am on my YouTube landing page and there's this like how to fucking polish your shoes video, and I'm like, what the click? And all of the comments were like, I don't know why YouTube showed me this, but it's mesmerizing and I can't look away. And it was though, it really was. He was polishing shoes on another level, a level with which you would not bother to polish a shoe that you had not spent many hundreds of dollars on, you know.
Which is none of my favorite shoes.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking like the cheapest shoe you would probably be working with would be like a floor time.
So Kiryu was concerned about killing people. I just pushed a meat cleaver into his abdomen horizontally.
Yeah, but he's fine.
He's totally dead!
Fine. No, he's fine. He's just sleeping.
He's sleeping in a pile of blood. Someone else's blood.
He's just sleeping. This is like today I was on one of the book Reddits and someone had posted a flat lay of their recent reads, and they were all like the guy who corners you at a party and to tell you about his vinyl and won't let you go, you know. It was all like that. And then in it he said, if anyone knows about Mishima's politics and turning right wing or whatever, could you let me know? And I'm like, you're fucking on the internet, man. Just
Let me Google that
it.
for you.
Just Google it, okay? There are movies, there are books, there is a wealth of information about what happened to that guy. Also, he was a conservative. I don't know that he was right wing in the sense that a Western person would mean right wing. Like, part of his thing was like, hey, maybe guys, what we shouldn't do is allow these people that hate us so much they drop two nuclear weapons on our country completely change how we do business and run our economy and dress and whatever. And that's conservative, as in he wanted to conserve Japanese culture and not let it be overwhelmed by the West. But I don't know that that's right wing.
It's almost nationalist, so there's some issues there. But no, I mean, I don't
true.
I'm
On the
nationalist, so I'm fine with that. Because again, I'm conservative.
I don't know if I think that all conservation is inherently right wing necessarily. I mean, certainly you wouldn't consider a wildlife conservationist to be right wing. So, although, I mean, I can't think of any.
I don't think that I'm particularly right wing. I am.
White wing.
That was a Freudian slip.
Okay.
Man, they just keep coming. Those are some big picks.
Is the chef. Anyway, yeah, like you can Google that guy, is what I'm saying. Like, why are you asking people on Reddit to do your research for you?
These are super lazy.
Like, how lazy so lazy.
So lazy that you're willing to type it in, but not into a website.
But not
into
the
right
website. Yeah. Or just copy his name from Reddit and paste it into Google. You don't have to retype it.
Alright, that guy's a problem.
You just got meat cleavered and you're fine. This is what I mean. That other guy is totally fine.
Well, I have more health.
I don't think that's how that works. I mean, a meat cleaver to the chest is...
Alright, goodbye, Shiny.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just getting super old, and I'm now.
So speaking of being super old and being targeted, one of my favorite target things is that Google for a long time has thought I've been substantially older than I actually am. Like, I'm middle-aged now, I get it, right? But when I was still in my late 20s, Google was of the opinion that I was in my late 60s.
Nah.
Because you can go to their page and say, what do you know about me? And you can correct it and say, no, I don't like this thing, I was doing research on a project, or you don't give them research, like, no, you're wrong about this, I don't like this thing, I do like this thing, so that you can get better targeted ads, or opt out entirely. And I was looking at it in the process of opting out entirely, and I was like, well, what do you think I am? And they thought that based on my status at that point that they had tracked, that I was between 65 and 85. I was like, yeah, no. And that was a little before I got married, so late 20s. Or in other words, I've always been like this.
It's interesting. I'm just going through what the list of my interests per Google. It's really interesting. So, okay, so Google thinks
Facebook doesn't have something like this, right?
Google thinks that, I mean, they do, but it's secret.
It's hidden. They have everything you've ever liked, and you can look at that, but you can't tell what they think they know about it. Correct.
And you can also like ask Facebook why it thinks you'd like a particular ad, and that can give you some insight into how they see you, which I should totally have done on the Hermes ad. I guess I forgot that existed. I have Google thinks that I'm 35 to 44 years old and that I'm female. So correct. Okay, things Google thinks I like. Here's where it's gonna get great.
Okay, this will be really good.
Action adventure films. This is in alphabetical order.
What?
Action.
Oh, thank God. Okay, right.
It's an alphabetical order. So
Not your
know.
top thing, but alphabetical order is a thing. Action adventure films is a thing. I could see you being somewhat fond of. You're certainly doing enough research on them at various points. So go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean,
not awful.
I've watched them. Oh, and see, on my activity where it predicts that I would like action adventure games, most of this, or action adventure movies, most of the stuff that they have as evidence is from books I've read or video games I've played, which is really crazy.
Why is that evidence?
Like, you can click on why do you think I like this, and it'll tell you.
Well, that's new. They didn't have that back in the day.
Okay, anyways, let's not get bogged down there. They think I like action and platform games, which is half correct, but I think that's one category, so I'll give it to them. Adventure games, yes. Aerospace and defense, fuck you, Dad. Just
Also, Mr. Dez to a certain extent.
Mr. Dez, yes, true. I mean, that would be, yeah. Yeah, but this is because my dad shares emails and informations with me. Probably that he shouldn't, but whatever. Number 2, Air Force. That's Mr. Dez. Here we have American football. No, incorrect.
Wow.
Turn off. Turn off. All right, that's gone. Apparel.
I guess maybe
like,
because we've been talking about the Washington football team recently.
Probably. Emailing about football. Yeah, I do wear clothing, so good job. Art supplies, art and craft supplies. Yeah, sure, of course. Obviously, that's my business. Arts and entertainment. Yes. Audio equipment. Of course, I fucking search for that shit all the time. Audio books, baked goods, bars, clubs, and nightlife.
What?
Well, the next one's gonna blow your mind even more. Basketball.
What?
Oh man, some of these are so bad. Let's get rid of basketball. Let's get rid of bars, clubs, and nightlife because ain't no one doing that. I know why that's on there. It's because I think it's because I go out to eat a lot. Would be my when things are normal. Because we like to dine out and we drink and stuff. But I don't go to clubs. Is what I'm saying. All right, let's see if we can find some other weird ones. Business and productivity software, sure, but that's not on purpose, It's not like I like it. All right. It's just, if you run a business,
been missing it, Bob.
You have to engage with that shit, along with business education, business news, and business services. Camera and photo equipment makes sense. Car rentals, okay. We'll turn that off. Card games, yes.
Why are you interested in car rentals?
Well, I just turned it off.
Well, I understand, but I mean, why would they even think that? That one is weird. Why would
Also,
anybody,
here's a weird one.
In car rentals?
They have me interested in both browser games and casual games, and while I do play casual games, I don't play browser games. I'm going to turn browser games off, but I wonder if you trip casual games if they just toss in browser games.
Or maybe it was an older category before they got more diversified.
Right. Cats, yes. Celebrities and entertainment news, children's literature. That explains some things. Classical music, yes. Colleges and universities, yes. Combat sports, okay, fine. Google. All right, if you're just gonna put me on blast like that. Assholes. Comics and animation. Comedy films, not so much actually, but whatever. Company news, and they have my company size listed as very large employer, 10K employees plus.
What?
Which is way wrong. incredibly wrong.
That's awesome, though.
Oh. My sign-in activity and the amount of user IDs I have is what's giving them that one.
Okay. Because you do a lot of things where you're corporate-like.
Yes, I act like a corporate entity.
Which
yes.
is fair, you do.
Yeah. So they just got the size wrong. So
Maybe because you have multiple different company kind of things where you and I
right.
are doing corporate things.
It's true. I do have what would look to Google. I have 3 different companies I engage with on a regular basis at least. So from how they would see it. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna actually.
He likes metal music.
You like metal music? Do you not like? Yeah. Oh, here's some others that explain some shit. If I have a whole raft of computer stuff, computer games, hardware, monitors, displays, electronics. Yeah, sure. But I have custom and performance vehicles, which explains all these fucking car ads I get for really expensive cars. Distributed cloud computing, that's 100% the fact that I spend a ton of my time on box.com. It's like, I like dogs. I fucking know I don't. Turn off. Okay, goodbye, dogs. All right. My education status is high school graduate. Excuse you? Excuse you? Ypod doesn't know anything about. I don't really know anything about metal either. Ypod. I just know that there's such a thing as doom jazz, which they use that's specifically made for sampling in doom metal, which is a thing I didn't know existed either. So, can I correct this? Apparently, I act like someone who is a high school grad. Maybe that's the highest?
No, it can't be.
Okay. Google change.
Do you want to know more?
Status.
I'm pretty sure I have this turned off because I'm a privacy boy, but I can't even find the page right now. So let's see what it is. It says about me. Can you control the ads you see? Let's try that.
Well, that's fine. I'm doing really well, considering all I have is a high school diploma. I'm into extreme sports. God, Google, you're so annoying.
They really think you like sports.
They're like, yeah, I mean, really, they're like, you love all the sports. All of them. Like, they've got me down here for fucking golf. Man. They also say I love hard drives. Again, I don't love hard drives, Google. I like gift baskets, food, and gourmet and specialty foods.
That seems reasonable.
Not just food, but fancy. I like folk and traditional music. They also put me down for classical music. These are all accurate. Let's see. Let's find some other weird ones. Green living and environmental issues. HD TVs.
HD or HG? Like
HD, like high definition.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. Like HGTV is home garden television. So.
They have my household income wrong too. Which is good. They have it lower than it is, which I think is probably based on how I use money. Which is...
It's maybe not income, but spending patterns. I could see that.
Yeah, like yeah. I'm not gonna correct them. I mean, for someone with a low income, I actually have been poor too, so maybe I confuse them. Since I've been poor since Google has existed, so.
Okay, so apparently they've turned it back on in the meantime. So there you go.
Oh, my marital status is single.
Nice.
Yeah, sweet.
Make sure you tell Mr. Dez.
Yeah.
Here are the things that Google thinks based on the more recent history. First of all, they think I'm 54 years old now.
Cool.
So
the gap's closing.
It's closing. I've gotten older, and they've gone down. They think I'm interested in the Motley Fool for, I guess, for investing and stuff. Dr. Squatch Soap.
Oh, these are the ones that have the circle with a letter in them are the people who advertise to you on a more regular basis. You're gonna go down below them, okay, so and you'll see
those are the only two that are my names with the letters. So.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. Like that's a lot or not?
Oh no, I have tons.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, reload is A, shooting is X, Y is shooting. Okay. Heat eye. What the hell's heat eye? Oh.
Well, where's that from?
I'm playing the game now. Sorry, game's going on again. So.
I was like, is this an ad category? Because that sounds weird.
It seems so bad.
Some of these things are crazy, like price comparisons. Like I actually compare prices on things, and that's something they want to know. Rugby? Honestly, I don't just end sports just in general. All the other sports that they haven't chosen. I mentioned rugby like once this year. Okay.
That's not bad.
Is that probably more than most people talk about rugby in a year? I am not interested in wearable technology. No, turn off. Interesting. There's a lot of stuff on here. Like, they think I'm buying a car right now.
Well, you talked about car buying.
I did talk about maybe buying a car. They know where I live.
Oh yeah, I mean that was super easy.
But this explains why I get so much sports news, because they have me down for wanting sports news and loving sports and yeah, that's me. I love rugby. But yeah, there's a lot of really specific shit on here. So yeah. Good job, Google.
Alright, so nope, still fighting. Bars, clubs, and nightlife. I cannot imagine what the hell I would have done differently.
I'm just saying, you're probably going to restaurants, you know? Like, I don't know where else that comes from.
Well,
Restaurants
see,
with bars in them?
So I'm going to dig deeper into it, because that is like one of the least new things I can actually think.
Yeah, but you go to restaurants that have bars in them with your family, and that may be all it takes. And they're tracking you through Google Maps or some shit.
But if you like have that all turned off, they can't.
They're probably tracking you anyway through your like wipe phone. Like this goes back to how I think it's like a complete waste of time when you do this, because you don't get any of the advantages and they're still tracking you anyway.
That's fair. That is an absolutely fair point, and we've had that discussion before, and I think you're marginally right. So please die. I've shot you a bunch of times. Like, why aren't
you have
dead?
that Trump's under par. What was that about?
Oh, because he had a stroke, probably. They called out that Pence had to be ready to take the office. He was taking Walter Reed, and when they next saw him, he's dragging his right foot like he's just had a stroke. So Trump probably had a stroke, and now as a result of that, it doesn't actually change anything. It's not like it's going to make him more or less dangerous. It's just interesting. Because as we get closer to the election, that becomes more...
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where it's like people with brain aneurysms can't be throwing strokes at whatever. This analogy fell apart, but, you know, we can't... If this is going to be the battle of cognition in 2020, there are no winners, only losers, so... It's not really an area where Joe Biden can come out strong.
Yeah. How many rounds of ammo do I have in my car?
I was checking up on the progressive, the People's Party convention. Yeah, you've been going to a lot of bars in Yakuza. Wipeout has a point.
Google estimates this interest based on your activity in Google services such as search or YouTube while you are signed in. What?
So you Googled a restaurant. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and so Marianne Williamson was there, and she said some really sensible stuff, like about how, you know, the DNC messed up because they should have picked someone who could match Trump's energy. Like that was the main thing that they should have gone for. And they just like went the opposite because they thought, you know, people wanted to be like comforted and soothed or whatever, but like people being calm doesn't win elections.
Yeah, they have to be worked out. That's what it comes down to, right? So
yeah,
that's a big thing.
People need something to be fired up about. So either they need to be really excited about your policy proposals, which the DNC didn't really mention a lot during their convention, so who knows what they are.
Why didn't they mention policy?
I know, so weird. Hillary Clinton did say that it's important for you to vote Democrat. That way America decides this election. And I was like, just lean into that one, Hillary. That's it. That's what it was.
Well, I think the issue is, again, like Cassandra of Troy was talking about, because this is a major talking point, it's not so much that even the last election was stolen from her, although I'm sure that's part of it for her, but the idea that if we don't have a democratic election in this one, that Biden wins, there won't be another election.
Oh, well, she specifically said to a foreign nation doesn't choose. So, no, she's just pissed. Yeah. Yeah, now the Cassandra of Troy people and people like that, there is that group of people, of which Marianne Williamson is one, who are like, this is the last election we're going to have as a free society. To which I would say, I mean, how much choice do you really have? How much could we even possibly change the government? We can't, so...
Right, I mean, sorry, Marianne, I would have voted for you over Biden, but guess what? You're not on my ticket.
Yeah. I would have, yes.
So it's not your fault.
And she said,
it's
like, when they invited Andrew Yang to speak, that he wasn't allowed to talk about universal basic income because Biden's not going to, make it part of his platform, obviously. So it's like, well, why bother having him there? Like,
because literally my choices are Trump and Biden now, so thanks. What's the point?
Yeah. I mean, Biden, who said nothing will change.
That's his promise. That's his best case scenario.
That's the core of what he has. I'm sorry, I keep hitting my microphone because I'm gesticulating. It's on a boom, though. Okay, it's on a boom, so.
Paul's I'm not wearing as well, so.
I'm not wearing a lavalier. But yeah, like, nothing's gonna change. Don't worry, guys. He already said that if someone asked him if he would sign a Medicare for All bill if it got to his desk, and he said it's not going to, so I don't even need to worry about it. Like, that's literally what he said. It's like, fuck you, man. Like, just lie. Just say, if they brought it to my desk, I would sign it, and then tell the Speaker of the House not to bring it to your desk.
Make sure
just be dirty. Like, what? He's like saying the quiet part out loud now. We have two of them that are saying the quiet parts out loud. It's like, I mean, I guess that's better because now people are like, what the fuck? It's like, yes, this is how politics has been for 40 years. It's just that they put a nicer face on it. So, I guess that's one positive. Except it doesn't seem to matter because not only did we choose Joe Biden, but there was a big poll released on who people would prefer to run for president on the DNC ticket in 2024 because Joe Biden has committed to not running in 2024. And the top three choices were Kamala Harris, someone else, and then Pete Buttigieg. And the number 2 person was also a corporate Democrat who is in the nothing will change camp.
Yeah,
I just don't remember who it was.
Change. People don't want that hope and change.
Yeah.
They want to go back to the hope and change.
Yeah. We want to go back to the fake hope and the fake change when everyone was friends.
All right, more of my enjoyments. Baseball, blues.
I mean, blues sounds like something you would like.
I'm not a huge blues fan. Board games. Boating. Business and productivity software, business education, business services, calendar scheduling, casual games, camera and photo equipment. I mean, a lot of this just everyone's gonna have them, right? Coupons and discount offers. Household income is high. What do you know about me, Google?
That's good because yours is high and mine is low. So that's gotta sting.
Google estimates this demographic because you've signed in activity on Google services such as search or YouTube is similar to what people who told Google they're in this category is.
Oh, okay.
Basically, I look at a lot of investing news. So
Yeah,
investing
you
news.
watch stuff that rich people watch.
Yeah.
So see, and I don't. I actually don't look at a lot of like
luxury goods.
Yeah, that's weird.
Also,
oh,
thinks
did I
I'm,
have...
thinks I'm single. So
Yep, that's good. We obviously don't have married people searching. I wonder what we're not doing, like that Google expects us to be doing.
Pizzerias, specifically pizzerias.
Do you order a lot of pizza?
I guess so. I mean, if I knew how many kids I have, that would make a lot more sense, I guess. But...
All right, let me see if I
Transit.
can.
Interesting. Spreadsheet software.
Wow. See, I wasn't even that nerdy. I was just business software. But no, they're like, no, he definitely loves spreadsheets. But for real though, like he's way into spreadsheets.
Vans and minivans. Yep, okay. Wood and plastics. I've previously turned off a fair number of these things as well. So these are things that they thought I used to be involved in, but I turned off manually. So...
Oh, it's Cuomo. That's the third one.
Oh my god, why?
I know, right? I know, right? It's I must have blocked that out just out of sheer pain.
Thanks.
Just, yeah. I was like, well, we're doomed. I mean, you know, just gonna keep on keeping on having no progressive party. That's cool. That's great. Thanks. Except no, because now we have a progressive party. So
the People's
hopefully,
Party. We'll see
the
if it
People's
actually
Party.
works.
We'll see what they can do with that. Hopefully they'll pull within themselves, like, and they'll try and act like an umbrella movement act like a caucus, really, and pull in like the Sunrise Movement and the Green Party and the Democratic Socialists. You know, that would be smart if they did that. If they did something like that, so that they could take all these smaller groups and kind of bring them all together. Then they probably get more than 5% of the vote.
Yeah, well, I'm not so much concerned about the 5% of the vote that the party might actually get. I'm always going to be concerned about the 35 to 40% of the vote that nobody gets. You know, how are we going to get the turnout out?
They're the most powerful voting bloc. If you could activate them, you would win in a landslide.
Like in my backyard.
You could an absolute avalanche landslide, like FDR looking numbers.
Just gotta give people what they want, and what they want is money.
Well, some people want money. Some people want their problems understood. You know, because
my problem is that I don't have enough money. That's just really easy to understand.
Specifically, like if I live in Detroit and the plant that I worked at closed, and now I don't have clean drinking water. Like, what are you going to do about that specifically? And you can say, I'm just going to give you money, but that's not necessarily going to motivate someone all the way to the polls. I mean, which we can tell because Andrew Yang is not the Democratic nominee. So just straight money.
I don't think that. I think part of it is that they didn't think he could pull it off. It's like, okay, you were going to say you're doing these things, but I don't believe that you actually can do it.
Well, some of it he can't. Like, he certainly can't do the money without Congress. Someone asked him recently in an interview if there were talks about the current administration, and he said he's trying to get them to create a technology czar, and that is the role that he would prefer. And I know he does actually believe the United States needs a technology czar. So we'll see if that happens. if Biden wins. He's also getting involved in California's big data privacy, like they're debating that bill out there, which could have massive repercussions for all the tech companies. It's like on kind of similar to the GDPR. It might even be more restrictive. And the tech companies are like, it would like it. It's seriously bad. It would be devastating to their business models, you know, if it were to pass.
I could go for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't see a problem with that. I mean, yes, will our economy crash and we go into another depression? Like, now's the perfect time, okay?
If we're gonna have it, let's just have it.
I mean, we're already in a depression. No one wants to say it, but we basically are, so let's just go for it.
They're still saying the R word.
Yeah, but the real unemployment numbers are more like D word, so...
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be particularly strong.
The good news is no one will vote for Cuomo, so he's not going to actually be the 2024 nominee. But there were only 2 people on the list that got any votes at all that were not warmonger corporate Democrats that aren't progressives. And those 2 people were Andrew Yang and AOC. So kudos to Andrew Yang, because I actually like getting on a list with AOC.
Yeah.
You know, so he's definitely still, people are still thinking about him. But yeah, yikes. Yikes. And they did a poll for the Republican primary. And let's see who's on it. I don't know. I gotta look. Let's see. Mike Pence leads Donald Trump Donald Trump Jr. by 14 points. Unsurprising. 31% of Republicans would prefer Pence. Then number 2 was Trump Jr. though. 3 was Nikki Haley. 4 was Mitt Romney, which, yes, let's go with Mitt Romney. The only person on this list that we know for sure cannot win a presidential election.
Well, he did lose to Obama, who was, you know, a very popular president. So Romney sure looks better in comparison to where we are right now. Like, I voted for Romney.
If Romney were running for either party, he would probably win.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, the Democrats should just call him and be like, you know what? Never mind. Forget Joe Biden. Ted Cruz is next, and then last was Tucker Carlson, which I don't know why he would bother. Oh, other candidates were listed, but they're all below, 5% for Marco Rubio, which no, thank you. 4% for Paul Ryan. 3% to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. No, thank you. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen because, like, the battleground states, the gap between Trump and Biden has narrowed to the margin of error, in the battleground states. So, and I think Hillary was doing better at this point.
Things have definitely gone very bad for Biden, and part of that comes down to, well, Biden started talking again. Things were going fine for him when he was just out of the limelight.
And he listed the states he was going to make appearances in, and Florida was not on the list. Which is stupid to a degree.
It's either stupid or brilliant. If he recognizes that his being there is bad...
I think he recognizes that the more people hear from him, the less they like him. And so, he should stay away. But the problem is that Trump has a really strong presence in Florida. And, I mean, Florida has a ton of electoral votes.
Yeah.
So, Joe Biden needs to try and make a case for himself somehow down here. Like, whatever. I guess I'm just dumb. As
we said last week, we need to be political consultants. That's all.
Yeah, like, how do you get a job doing this?
You gotta know the right people, obviously.
Yeah, you had to go to Harvard with some rich douchebags.
I went to the wrong college. I studied to be something useful for society. That was a mistake.
That was your mistake.
I don't think it was my only mistake. I mean, I've made plenty. But
Yeah, I mean, if you could go back and like talk to your 18-year-old self, you would do a lot different. If you could convince that dipshit to listen to you, which
Yes.
you probably can't, by the way.
to take us very back to the beginning, I was a little shit when I was a
Because just as a for instance, I turned down a full ride to the Citadel. So, not a smart move. In retrospect, probably should have just sucked it up and
Yeah.
dealt with it. But I would have been the second female class.
also.
And I don't know if you recall what happened to the first female class, but they were abused constantly. So,
Yeah,
What?
I can imagine it was not going to be good for them.
yeah.
But
So,
you could have done some amazing stuff with that, and would have done good things for you in certain ways. But ultimately,
I could have
college you
joined
did
the
go
Deep
to-
State and become a warmonger.
Yeah.
Won some medals in Afghanistan or something. Yeah, that would have been cool.
The college you did go to was an interesting choice.
I mean, that was really like
Like
the Citadel from Mass Effect. The Citadel Y pod is probably, what would you put it, third on military academies for ones not like, oh,
Yeah.
well, for a military,
It's like
yeah.
second, maybe, like right behind West Point.
Yeah, like it's one of the best military academies in the country.
So I'd
Like-
say it's probably West Point, Citadel, Naval Academy.
Yeah, West Point Citadel Naval Academy, then probably either VMI or Air Force Academy.
VMI.
Actually,
Air Force,
Coast
yeah.
Guard Academy is supposed to be really, really tough.
And they're tough,
but
but
it just
doesn't have the
but
prestige.
It doesn't
right?
have the cachet. Like
Right.
like being a graduate of the Coast Guard Academy is not going to open as many doors as being a graduate of the Citadel would.
No.
And it's in the South. Where is it? Georgia? South Carolina? It's somewhere in the South. But anyway, the year that they offered me the full ride was because I did really well on the SATs, and they were trying to put together classes that had like a decent chunk of females once Congress or the Supreme Court or whoever made them take females.
South Carolina, by the way.
South Carolina, okay. And so I would have been in what was the second class. And in the news all the time was how the first class was getting abused, beaten up, horrible shit was happening to them. Like, it was awful. And so, of course, they were like, if you are a woman and have two brain cells to rub together, you can come to the Citadel for free. Was kind of where they were. And I mean, the recruiter was like practically begging me, and I was like, I don't want to die, man. I mean, you know. But, you know, I could have been in the second graduating female class from the Citadel. If I pulled my shit together and worked really hard, maybe I could have done it in 3 years and been in the first graduating class. But yeah, I didn't want to deal with the drama. You know. Now, that if I had, you know, if you could do it all over again, I would tell my 18-year-old self, either don't go to college,
Yeah, that's always
go to
a
the
good one.
Citadel. Those are your two choices. You pick whichever one you like better, okay? But you're do one or the other. Because you could just go learn how to repair air conditioners also.
It's hard work, though. You know, I think the work that you do is probably more interesting, but a lot less hard than like repairing air conditioners.
Yeah, I mean, what I do does damage the body because of certain positions I have to be in and repetitive motion and things of that nature. But I don't think it would damage the body as much as like crawling on my knees into crawl spaces and attics and shit or whatever air conditioning people do.
Especially at our ages. Like, how
Yeah.
much longer would you want to be doing that career versus how much longer can you keep doing what you are currently doing? You know, interest levels aside, physically you can keep doing it for a lot longer.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest problem right now is I need to have a hand surgery. And when I was talking to the doctor, they're like, if nothing goes wrong, it's 6 weeks recovery. And I was like, yeah, I can't do it. Like, I just can't do that. And I was like, and if something goes wrong, they're like 3 months more. And I was like, yeah, no way.
No, you can,
No.
you can fill up the hopper with several weeks worth of work and get ahead
Yeah.
of that and hope for the good recovery. But yeah, that's really rough.
Yeah, like if 6 months was a guarantee, then sure. But this particular surgery, any hand surgery, the hands are, there's a lot going on there.
They're pretty
In a
complicated
small-
organs.
They're complicated.
Probably not calling it
So-
organs wrong, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, they're probably limbs, I guess. I don't know what you would call hands.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, so I was like, I'll just wait till it hurts so much that I can't work anymore. And then that's when I'll do it. You know, when it's like, hey guys, I just can't anymore.
We're done.
I can't.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a prehensile appendage.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us in our interesting discussion of prehensile appendages and
Yes.
many other things. Hopefully you enjoyed our conversations and the gameplay, and we'll be back next week with
Yeah.
more.
Join us next week to find out how Kronos enjoyed warm nuts.
The mouthfeel of my warm nuts.
The mouthfeel of warm nuts.
Sentences I did not expect to be saying on live air. This has
Look.
gone weird. I want to thank you for making it weird for me, Des.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Good night, everyone.